All right, hello and welcome to another episode of InstantQast. I'm your host, Nickel, as always, joined by my lovely co-host, Judith Priestley. Thank you very much for catching us. If you're catching us live, as always, we stream this on Twitch on Thursdays. Upload the video if you're watching that on YouTube and or Reddit on Fridays. Judith, I've had a very interesting week, but first I want to kind of hear what you've been up to.
No, it's not been too much. I've just this morning, this very day, finished Persona 3. If anyone's ever played Persona or not played Persona, you should play Persona, is all I'm gonna say. As soon as you're done with Smite, it's a JRPG, classic JRPG with a little bit of extra. Oh yeah, it is weeby as all hell, you wouldn't believe. But yeah, when the rank queues are going badly, play Persona. That's all I'll say on that.
Okay, all right. Well, I actually on the Friday that we last week, day after we recorded this podcast, I'm doing like some work lately where I've been a delivery driver, and it's been like almost like a mailman because it's not like I'm delivering food or anything. It's I'm delivering packages, and for the first time ever, I met the horror of any mailman or delivery driver. I met the guard dog. Okay.
Oh no.
And I'm the kind of guy, I would describe myself as such, and I assume a lot of my friends would do as well. If I meet danger out in the wild, I stand my ground, okay? I'm not like, I don't panic, I don't get scared, I stay composed and I stand my ground. But for a moment, okay, for a split second, when this dog, like I was in the car, like I was in like a van digging out the package that was going to this house I was. Suddenly I hear this like snarling and then loud barking, and then a dog just comes spinning around the car started like biting at me, like towards me, but didn't hit me or anything. And for a split second I froze and I got like kind of scared, and then I got back to reality, reset. But that's all that dog needed, because because it's seen me frightened, it knows that it is now the alpha dog. And so for the next 5 minutes, for me to get to because it was kind of like a big lawn, like big out area before you get to the house, I had to park kind of far away because it was like gated. And to get to the house, I had to just walk with this dog, like snapping at me with like the bites, like trying to get at me, but it wasn't actually trying, but it was like standing in front of me, growling at me, going crazy, and I just stare it down, like I was looking at it right in the eyes. So I was like, oh yeah, you want some of this? But because it'd seen me frightened, it was way more confident in trying to stand its ground. So it was like for 5 minutes a battle back and forth. I took a step forward, it was like and then I just stared it down like and then slowly backed off. And yeah, it was one of the more terrifying experiences because it looked like it was actually gonna attack me, and for a moment it like, because I was carrying like a big box, like a cardboard box, and I couldn't directly see below my feet, and suddenly the dog like ran below the crate, the package I was carrying. So I was like, oh, this is it, it's gonna bite me, I just gotta tank it and keep walking. So yeah, I was kind of terrified, but I lived through it. I showed the dog who's alpha, and as soon as I put the package down, because that was also a thing, it was like on a step up to the house. And obviously, it was standing on the steps, so we were like face to face. And I'm just staring it down while slowly putting down the package, And then as soon as I put it down, it started barking super loudly, but it didn't chase me to the car anymore. And just like let me go. Have you ever experienced something like that where you've been like terrified, but you have to stay calm? Or...
That's an interesting one. I've never been terrified in an emergency situation that's affected me.
Okay.
But I have been in situations where something serious happened to someone else, and that I would argue can be more terrifying.
Okay.
So for example, like if you've ever been near someone who just unexpectedly like collapses from being on 2 feet and then just suddenly they're on the ground, that is bad, especially when, like I said, because it's not you, right? You can sort of make peace with yourself, right? Like you're in that situation with that dog. If it starts attacking you, all right, this is on me. if that dog's going for someone else, that could be like,
Of
oh, I
course, yeah.
have to do something about this, right? And like, yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
probably the closest I've been in it. Yeah, when you're in the sort of fight or flight, it's
Mm.
it's tough, but you learn a lot about yourself. Funnily enough, so yeah, Nickel. Next time you're forced into solo lane and the Cucullin on the other side with a 2 level lead on you is barking at you,
Yeah.
you're gonna
I gotta,
headbutt right
yeah,
through that
yeah.
thing.
I
And
gotta
you're gonna
stand my
charge the thing
ground.
because you know you're gonna remember that time. Be like, I wasn't scared of the dog. I'm not scared of you.
All right. Well, speaking of Colin, he's obviously been released last week. We also got his aspect, but we've seen some new gods that are coming up.
Yeah,
Those are roadmap released by the Titan Talk guys. Why don't we? Why don't you talk us a little through about the four new gods that we know
yeah,
of? Of course, there's going to be more. I think they said something about 11 gods before end of
yeah.
2026, but we only know the first next or the next four. Sorry, not the
Next
first, but the
four,
next
yeah.
four. Yeah.
Yeah,
Who are the
so
next four?
next four, I believe I'm going to try to recite this in order. I believe it goes Ishel, which is coming up like next week.
Yep.
So we have Ishel first, followed by Raven, then Hachiman, and then Hell, which is, in my opinion, so much better than the previous sort of roadmap we had, where it's like Kronos, Cucullin, Xingqian, who I mentioned on the podcast. I said these gods are very functional and not
Mm.
like very flashy. Whereas these next ones, again, we're out of some of the most flashy gods, right? So it's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
like
yeah.
there's going to be tons of flashy things left. But these four, I think, are much better for the game in general. Much the excitement factor is so much higher on them.
Yep.
And there you go. You can see them on
Yeah.
screen now
See
if
on
you're
the screen.
watching. But yeah, like I say, Ishel, Raven, Hachiman, then Hell, and yeah, just the play potential from all four of those gods is just so much higher than what
Oh
we've
yeah.
had in the last couple of weeks that I'm excited to see it now. Raven, possibly one of my least favorite gods from Smite One. Absolutely hated that guy, but doesn't matter. It's nice that they're in the game, so I know a lot of people have been looking forward to this god.
Yeah, I think Hachiman, just to jump to him, one of my favorite characters. Definitely one of my favorite hunters. When it comes to Robin Ixchel, though, I never really got too much play with Ixchel at the end of Smite One. That was
Yeah,
kind of when my Smite vibe was fading out, and I definitely wasn't playing mid lane. So Ishela doesn't really have any place in my heart when it comes to Smite, so I'll just be mostly focused on how the character will play in Smite 2. I don't really have a comparison to Smite 1. Her aspect though, and we'll get to that probably a little later,
yep,
might be really interesting because it sounds like it's gonna be something similar to what I've been wanting for the game for a while.
yep,
Ravana though, to me, has is like I remember him when he got released, and his kit was completely
yeah,
different. so, so to
yeah,
me, he's just been this character that's gone through so many changes, and he's been so different. But then, as soon as they got this version of Raven, or the latest version on Raven that we saw in Smite One, he's kind of been very stable as this like never too horrible as a character, but also he's the times he's been in the meta, he's hasn't really overtaken the meta as such, as far as I can remember.
there was one time where there
Okay.
was the solo or troll build for Raven, which was basically just stacked mitigations,
Oh,
and
this was played in solo lane.
yes,
Oh,
yes, it
okay,
came
okay,
from
cool,
solo lane,
cool.
and it was outrageous. It was like literally the first pick team would ban it
Oh, okay,
first. That's
okay,
how like we don't even want to play it
yeah,
because we know if we get it, we win. Yeah, it was outrageously strong
all right,
for a pretty short while. But then I think from that point, people basically worked out that if Raven's going to be good, this is how he's going to be played, and that's
yeah,
kind of how we rounded out the last couple of years of Smite One, where he was just kind of this unkillable god that didn't do a whole lot, but if it could isolate a target, it could really like again, it was like peak solo lane, right? Like you could
yeah,
isolate a hunter, and the hunter could not do anything about it. You had to commit multiple members of your team to kill this guy, which is kind of what you really want from a tanky type solo lane, right? So yeah, he
yeah,
does have a niche. I imagine they're going to look to try to make that his niche again in this one. At least we'll see.
Yeah, do you remember? Was he mostly played in solo or jungle towards the end?
I,
Smite one.
I don't remember it being jungle like ever.
Oh,
Pretty
really?
much, I'm pretty
Okay.
sure he was just a solo laner by the
Hmm.
end of it. Even though they made him an assassin, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. But my knowledge of comp Smite, at least, I do not ever remember casting like a Raven jungle, particularly the higher levels. So yeah, it was always Raven solo if we saw him. And again, it looks like they're going to try to give him some extra help in the jungle, particularly with the aspect, which we won't go too much into because it's
Yeah.
more of like a tease. But yeah, the aspect to me already, the hint feels like it's going to be a jungle aspect.
Hmm.
So yeah, it looks like despite being an assassin, it does seem like they're going to be a bit more solo encoded than usual.
Yeah. I'm hoping they bring him more in line with solo lane. I hope they kind of because his whole idea, at least in Smite one, where they really tried to have this like stacking basic attack thing into
Yeah.
pressing one and doing a lot of damage. I hope that that is something that they put on the jungle aspect, but make it a little more interesting versus keeping his solo lane. Keep the two and the three as it is on solo lane, and then do something different with his one. I think his one can be something else
Hmm.
which will keep him more in line with other warriors because the feeling like I don't remember him being that much of a solo laner towards the end of Smite 1. That's why it's very interesting to hear that you have had a different experience, but I just remember him being this like very quick farming jungler in
Yes, a
ranked at
very strong
least.
start. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he would just walk around and he was unstoppable if he ever got ahead. It was like this like
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
snowbally unstoppable jungler, and he's so frustrating to play against if he ever got ahead because of the two. And for those who don't know, he
Yeah.
is one of two characters I believe that has this is Changa and Ravana, where
Hmm.
you can move in the direction you're either facing or walking, while you are CC immune and damage immune, and it's horrible as a feeling to play against. Because what if you're about to hit your Scylla combo or something, and the Ravana just presses two? It just feels like
Yeah.
okay. So there's that was my kit,
Uncrippleable, by the way. It was not a dash, not
Right. Yeah.
it is not officially a movement ability. So you could get, like you say, rooted by or rooted and crippled by a Scylla, and then just whoop,
Yeah.
just I'm gonna fly on out of that. So yeah, I'm as far as I can see, that ability seems to be coming in completely unchanged.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah, it
mean, I
will be
think it's
interesting.
like a staple of his character at this point, so it would kind of suck for him to not have the one
Yes.
thing that makes him really unique. I just hope that they go more in like because he is a perfect example where his aspect should be clearly a different role, and his main should either be jungle or solo, and then the aspect should fill the other one. So
Yeah.
if he's coming in as like this warrior solo laner, then his aspect should be way more toward leaning towards jungle. And I think the backflip fits more in a solo laner playstyle because you want to be
Yeah. For sure.
you want to have this like pseudo tankiness versus a jungler. It feels way worse to play against if this guy can one shot me and I can't do anything about it because he can just go
Yeah.
immune.
Just go
So
immune on you. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
But also, I'd like to touch on the last god in the roadmap. Obviously, Hell coming through, and if you look and you can see by the silhouette, it's actually silhouetted out the Hell because it seems to be a bit of a model remake going in.
yeah,
And actually, someone on Reddit just posted that image with just like the brightness turned all the way up, so you
okay,
can basically see what was going on. And yeah, it does look a little bit different, particularly the Dark Stance Hell.
yeah,
Um, Light Stance Hell is kind of similar, but as far as I can tell, they're not going to change things too much with Hell. Just more of a visual. I know it's got a new voice pack and everything, and
okay.
I like that they're doing this with a couple of gods. Like some of them needed it. I didn't really think Hell did,
The
but
visuals? No,
people
I
didn't
didn't.
seem too shocked. Yeah, I didn't think it needed a whole visual rework, but for whatever reason, they've decided to go with that, and that's fine. Because one thing I wanted to point out about Smite 2 for a long time is the gods that are in Smite 2 now, even though there are tons more than they were at this point in Smite 1's life cycle, From the time where I started playing Smite 1, which was like late 2013 or maybe early 2014, um, every god that was released before I started playing had a rework at some point, right? Or at least a touch up. So
Yeah.
that will happen again, because it's a lot easier for them to be like, "Hey, Anhur can throw two impales now," than to add a new god, right? But
Yeah.
something like that can really refresh the game a little bit. So they will do this. So I wouldn't worry too much about like some people say, a god might have come out and it might be a little bit disappointing. It will get changed or at least updated, and other MOBAs do this too, right? Like
Yeah.
you see with League of Legends all the time. They reintroduce a character, so this will happen. But it's interesting for how they decided to do it now. So clearly they had some idea that they really wanted to change for it.
Yeah, for those who don't know how Hi-Rise really does their current, or how they're, for the longest time they've done their decisions on which characters to bring in, it goes on popularity, of course, and how easy it is to implement slash port over.
Yeah,
And one of the things that makes Hachiman and Hell really difficult is that they have multiple models, because
yeah,
that is one of the things that takes the longest time for the art team to actually bring into the game, is making the 3D model, especially now that they have a higher standard with UAE 5. So I'm very surprised that they're doing Hachiman Hell back to back, but I'm
yeah,
very happy because it either shows that they have worked out a workflow uh, to be more easily or this will be more doable in future, or they have planned this in the future, which shows that they're purposely doing things um, to bring us what hopefully will be some of the more popular gods. Cocolin, I know, was one of the most popular gods. He had the same issue where two different models. King Arthur, I think, is next on that list, other than Cthulhu. I think it's like Cthulhu and King Arthur is like top two interchangeably. I don't know which one is the most, but
yeah,
I hope that they can start bringing these kind of characters in soon, because that then I feel like the most popular gods and like this shield of the big mains and the big character mains and the fans of Smite will have the most popular gods around, and the people that have these like one trick pony kind of things will have their gods in. And then all
yeah.
the other weird characters, the Charybdises, the Marticaruses, the Freyas, will be more, they will come in a little later, and it will be
Yeah,
fine. People won't be sitting there like, oh, why
yeah.
is Freya not in the game yet?
Yeah, no one is here crying out for Maman Brigitte, all right?
Exactly. Yeah,
There is
exactly.
absolutely no one who remembers that god's even in the game in Smite
Yeah.
1, right? Like you said, it'll come a time where these gods will, like you said, someone like Freya or, hey, Persephone,
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
gods will be, when it's at the end of this sort of chain that they're going for, where it's kind of a crunch time, right? There will be presumably less of a crunch, which means they can have more time to actually
Mm.
have some thought put into it, right? I don't want Freya just in the game as she was,
Yeah,
because
that's
it
the
was one
thing
of
as
the
well.
most frustrating things, right? So let's give Freya a chance to actually be cool. And like Freya as a goddess is like one of the coolest
Oh,
in
yeah.
like Northern mythology, right? The game needs to have Freya, but not Smite One Freya,
Yeah.
ideally.
She should
Yeah,
definitely be
some
in the
kind of change
game.
up they could do would be good.
She
Yeah,
should definitely be in the game, but she has always had this like issue with balancing, and if they can't fix that before implementing her in, then what was the reason for waiting this long? I think the
yeah, yeah,
reason
yeah,
why they're putting Marticarus and her and Arachne and these kind of like, either they're too good or too bad to ever be played. Reason why they're
yeah,
waiting on these, even though they would be easy to implement at this point, is because they wanna hopefully fix them before bringing them into Smite 2. Hell, though, is, I've been raving on this for 4 weeks or so now. On this podcast, pretty much every podcast for 4 episodes.
yeah.
I really want an enchanter type aspect or character inherently in Smite. And
Hmm.
enchanter, when I say enchanter, I mean what League of Legends has as enchanters, which is more of a squishy support. So not, because the problem we have now with like someone like Afro is that you're incentivized to build full tank, so she'll just act as a tank, but she can also heal. She'll be a little
Yeah,
less tanky than, like, let's say Geb,
yeah,
but because the base stats are pretty similar, and the scaling is the exact same, you'll just have a very tanky Afro that can also heal, so she'll probably be as tanky, if not more, than a Geb over a team fight. With someone like Hell, and what I'm hoping the Ishel aspect will be, is someone that has scaling in the right places, so that healing and or shielding will increase when you build not tanky and not damage.
Yeah.
So it can't just be, because if you have it, if you build tanky, or if you have it when you build damage, it will just either be, if you tanky, you just build support as a tank, and it'll be just the exact same as if you pick Geb, except you'll have healing. But if it scales off of damage or of intelligence, then you'll just play them in mid, and then have infinity healing as well as infinity damage.
Yeah.
So what I'm hoping for Hell, because her kit would be amazing for this, is that either they make the aspect like a full on just light stance enchanter, or they make her light stance be more focused on an enchanter type thing without any aspect, and then her main or her dark side will be toned down a little bit, so that you can't just pick her as a mid laner and have the best of both worlds. Because that's kind of the issue with a stance switcher like that, is that you are more incentivized to have her in a solo lane or mid lane than support, because the damage output is still there. So yeah. I'm really excited for Hell. Love that she's coming, but I hope that they do it right.
Yes, yeah. Like you said, one of those traditionally hard to balance characters. So they seem confident. Let's see if they can pull it off.
Let's see if they can indeed. We talked about something last time around, and we've been harping on this for a little while, and it's Race to Radiant. Mm-hmm. Now, we're bringing up this a little earlier because we're going to go through the patch afterwards, but just want to get this out of the way. Judas last week was humbly brought forward some alternatives to Race to Radiant as it is right now, and I quickly shut that shit down because it was stupid, and hashtag Team Nickel. Okay, well, Judas, came back hat in hand saying, "Hey, Nickel, I have found possible alternatives." So, Judas, let's have it.
All right. So, just for anyone who missed it, the quick explanation of the general idea before I get into the specific. My suggestion has been Race to Radiant sucks because it just causes some more problems than it fixes. Yeah. So, my alternative was that using the new fancy god trackers that we have instead of a Race to Radiant, be in the first 2 weeks of a god's release, who can get a high score on one of those trackers. Now, Nickel's argument against this was if you make it a bad stat to track, right? Like, let's say, just pull out a bad example. Let's say it's an Ula race, and you have to like stance switch the most times in one game. You're gonna have people just standing in base spamming the 4 key, right? No one wants to play; they just want to sit there and spam 4. So totally fair, right? You have to be careful with exactly what you set. So what I have done, because last week I kind of came in a little bit vague, I feel I didn't have enough detail. For the upcoming 4 gods in this roadmap, I have picked 4 stats to track that I think that would be a good race, or like a high score race for the first 2 weeks. And Nickel is going to attempt to break them and ruin these for me as best they could, as if he was a true gamer who cared not about Smite, but only about the high score he could get in Smite. Yeah. And does not want to win, doesn't want to play, just wants to get a high score.
Imagine me as a speedrunner trying to break the game to reach...
Yeah, exactly. So all of this takes place, I'm assuming, in Conquest, for example. But again, you could use another game mode if there's a way around this. Yeah. But again, to sum it up, the idea is a stat to track that is not conducive to trolling a game or trying to throw. It needs to be something that helps your team, or at least helps you win and play the game. Yep. And it has to be character specific. It's not just kill objectives, right? It has to be character specific. I've put all these rules together, Nickel. I've been cooking it up in the kitchen. Haven't slept for 5 days. Here we go.
I'm ready. All right, bring it.
Starting with E-Shell. Okay. Also preface, the words I say would not be the name of the stat. Surely someone can come up with a better name, but it would be what the stat is. Okay. Total combined damage plus healing with the ultimate in one game.
Is it damage to gods?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I mean that is a tough one because you have set very specific parameters. The only thing I would think of would because you've added healing there, which is pretty big. Because is it combined as in they have to tick at the same time, the healing and damage, or would it be?
No, so the details of each shell ult, if you just in
Yeah,
case you didn't know, is so it deals damage to enemies and it heals
yeah.
teammates,
Mhm.
and you extend the duration of the ult if you heal teammates as well.
I see.
Uh,
Okay. Couldn't you? But the stat is like let's say I heal for 10,000 and
mhm.
damage for 1,000, it would stay as
It would be
11,000.
11,000. Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, this sounds like one of the better ones you could
Mhm.
probably make up.
This is probably my best one.
Yeah, it's you came out swinging. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't really unless I make unrealistic parameter like unrealistic what's it called
One thing that
situations.
every one of these stats would be broken by, right, is if you had a team of people that are all working to get this person this achievement, and let's say you've taken all three Phoenixes, Titans wide open, and you just opt to not end the game,
Yeah, but I
right?
mean that is a with all of any race
Again,
created
I can't
similar
fight
kind of
that, and
thing.
there's
Yeah,
also surrender options, right? Like you'd have
yeah,
to
yeah.
be doing that to a team that is also just the most hardcore
Deciding. Yeah,
F7 warriors in the world, right? So
exactly,
so
exactly.
it's semi-balanced via that, but this one again, I think this was my strongest one. I think I don't think you could break that one,
Yeah,
Nickel. I think I
I
might score a point on this one.
I gotta concede this one. The like if I create like this really unrealistic scenario, like the only thing I could think of is like someone purposely just ulting as soon as someone's low, um, and not caring about the damage because that
Yeah,
is
I
an
get you.
easier parameter to work around than having to damage someone.
Mhm.
It's the only thing I could think of. But yeah,
Mm.
I think this was a pretty good one.
All right, all right. One.
One
1 point
down,
for
three
for
to
Team
go.
Judas. Okay. Next is Raven. And funnily enough, based on your explanation of your introduction to Raven, you're going to hate this one. But I also don't think you can break it.
Okay,
All right.
okay.
So Raven. Total damage avoided via overhead kick in one game. Again.
I would just stand by a tower and continue to two out of it as soon as it's about to hit me.
Sure. But is that going to win you the game or keep you in the game? So that you can actually like, because surely you do that, and then your opposing soul lane just runs up to you and kills you.
No, because what you really
All right,
do,
yeah. All
okay,
right, yeah.
is you walk to you finagle your way to their tier two. Okay,
Yeah.
this is at the start of the game. You've leveled only
Mm-hmm.
your two. You finagle your way
Uh-huh.
to their tier two and or Phoenix. If you can
Mm-hmm.
get there, but where you stand at tier two, you take one tower shot because that doesn't do that much damage. Take another tower
Yeah.
shot. Now it starts taking a lot of damage. As soon as you see an enemy on the team, you let yourself die. But first, you do your two as soon as you're one hit away from dying. You do your two, and then if there's any enemy around, you have blink or something, and then just
And try to run
just make
away.
sure you die.
Fine, but
But
is that better than
easy
getting to late game and
easy change to
you know?
this. Now I'm not gonna help you, but I'm gonna help you. Easy change to this is just change it from damage avoided to god damage avoided.
Oh, so like instances of guard damage avoided, maybe?
I wouldn't say instances because then you would, always surrender a game where they have no dot damage, I guess, or like you would try to
Oh yeah,
find your way to
yeah.
dot damage, but
Yeah.
it would be god damage instead of just any damage, so it wouldn't be tower
Fine,
damage
yeah.
or titan damage or whatever.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, you could just simply run it down. Just respawn, run at that enemy, doesn't matter. The respawn timer is gonna be as fast as my two cooldown, so I'll just like,
It's just always be there.
yeah,
Yeah. I just feel like even if someone was trying to manipulate it, you're always going to be better off trying to actually play the game with this tracker, right? I
Maybe.
think if you had a 35-minute game where you're doing your job as a solo laner, it's or even as a jungler, maybe I think you'd be better in solo lane.
You
Yeah,
also
but again,
are
that's how I see Raven here.
incentivized to build full cooldown with this,
True.
and I guess full tankiness as well. So that could lead to some finagling where you're, full cooldown, full defense, run into enemy, two out
Mhm.
while they, but also purposely walk into like Scylla twos or Scylla ults or any big
And try
damage.
to like juke them that way.
Yeah, and then two purposely to try to, or like, and Anubis is about to three ult your teammate, and
It's like, oh, I'm in there.
instead of attacking the Anubis and helping your teammate, you just
You
walk
just
in
gonna
there as well
dodge.
and two. Like I can see these like small things, but
Yeah.
I would say it's definitely better than what we have now for sure.
Yeah. Which is the goal
That is
ultimately.
the goal.
But I'm
That
but
is
I'm
the goal.
trying to excel here as well.
Yeah,
All right, so
yeah.
let's call that a point with a little bit of breakage in there.
Point with an asterisk, I would say.
Yeah, I can't remember actually, Nico. You might remember. Does the overhead kick, if you do dodge damage, does it actually give you anything for Raven? It does for Chungar,
Chang'e
but
gives
I
you
can't
mana.
remember.
I
Yeah, you like
don't think
regen for
Robin
mana
gives you
from it.
anything. I think the fact that he has
I don't
damage
think
on
it
it at the
does.
same
I thought it was.
time.
I think it was just mental damage, right? And then yeah, it does actually. It is a damaging ability. So
Yeah, I'll
uh,
uh, I'll just look it up real quick here.
yeah, because that
Um,
could be the alternative stat track, right? Like like mana gained via overhead kick or whatever.
yeah, it
But I like the idea of damage.
doesn't say. Obviously gives movement speed, but that it does that no matter
Yeah.
what, if you take damage or not. So yeah, it's just it cleanses CC currently applied and gives you some movement speed, and then if you take damage, nothing happens.
Cool. All right, two down. Let's keep it going.
All right.
Now I really like this next one. I put this in even though I can possibly think of ways you could manipulate this and break it. I really like the idea of this as a stat track anyway. So
Okay.
if the Titan Talks are listening, please put this into Hatchimex. This would be cool as
Hindu
hell.
man, I know you're a
All
fan
right.
of the show.
Yeah. Had that confirmed, by the way. So yeah, like let's get this in. All right. For Hachiman, consecutive hits of Eagle Eye. If you're not sure,
This
Eagle
is
Eye is the
one, yeah.
first ability that charges the shots.
Consecutive hits. Again, I assume
Again,
it's a
gods,
god,
yes.
yeah, because
Yes.
anything not gods would just easily be fucked over by minions or whatever. So
Yeah.
um again, this would never hamper your team, but it
Hmm.
would, as all of these, is incentivizes you to not focus on playing or ending the game. It focuses
Hmm.
you on doing this one thing over and over. Again, instead of building attack speed, I would just build cooldown. I would
More chances to miss, Nickel.
more chances to miss. Wait, is it? You said consecutive,
Yes, so it's consecutive hits. So
so it would
presumably hits that
be
missing.
so if you hit all four at the max rank, it's four, right?
Yeah.
Or is it five?
I believe it's 4. Yeah, I think
Four,
it is
yeah.
4.
You hit all four in a max rank. The cooldown ticks down, and then you can hit another four, and that would be eight.
And that would be 8, yes.
That would be eight. Um, yeah, I mean, I still think you have a higher chance of, uh, stacking it up if you can use it more often.
Hmm.
The attack speed doesn't change that ability in any way, does it? Other
It
than
it does like fire the
yeah,
attacks faster, I
fire it
think, but
faster, but it doesn't
yeah.
change the speed of the one or.
It didn't, but they might add something like that for like I could see like maybe with attack speed you get more. I
Oh,
could
right,
definitely
yeah.
see that being like a +1 based on how they did things like Chiron.
Right. That would
Um,
be cool. I think because one of the problems with this is that it's way harder than normal basic to line up or to
yeah.
like track your enemy with. Uh, yeah, I think this again probably better than the alternative we have right now. But if I really wanted to, if I loaded in the Smite game again, I would not load in Conquest. I would load into a Joust or an Arena game, and I would just
Hmm.
not do anything except spam my one. And I would
And see
make
how many you could
sure,
hit. Like yeah,
especially in Arena, I would just make sure that the enemy was CC'd. I would never
yeah.
fire a one unless I was guaranteed that it would hit, and then hopefully by the end of the game, I'd have like 100, something like
Yeah.
that. So I wouldn't be working on winning the game. I'd just be working towards that. So,
What if you had to win for it to count? Does that change
uh,
these?
I mean, that would suck though if you are playing normally
Playing
and
out
you're
of your
trying,
mind,
yeah, you're
and
like out of your mind, you're carrying the game, you have like 150 in a row, and you're just like, you're built correctly, but you're just going crazy with it, and then the enemy team just steals Fire Giant, and you're fucked.
Yeah.
And, well, yeah, I don't think you could ever add that as a condition. I think that would just
No, I think it would
be
be tough.
way more frustrating than anything.
Yeah.
And like then if you had teammates on the team that were trying the same thing but they didn't lock in Hachiman and you did, they would just surrender the game if they see you start
just trying to
doing
lose.
well.
Yeah. I mean that happens now.
That is true.
Happens now.
Which brings the point that Race to Radiant as it is right now is just stupid anyway. So this is, even though I am obviously shitting on your ideas to some extent, I think these so far has been pretty good. I am way more excited about this than what we have right now. Just so everyone knows. It's like it's a flawed system, but we're trying our best to fix it here. All right.
I have one more for Hell. Hell was very difficult. This was very, very tough.
Really?
Especially because I wanted to do something different, right? Like without the consecutive hits. So one idea I had was consecutive hits with your one in either stance.
Ooh, but that's pretty interesting.
That is a little bit of a problem where you could just have two people stand in base and you frequently use the heal one, right? Like that's immediately a way I could break it.
What if it would have to be alternate? Like it would have to be.
Oh, you had to alternate it.
Yeah, you had to alternate it. I mean, then again, it could fuck you over by the fact that what if there's no one on your team needing healing? I mean, you could still hit it even though they don't need the healing.
But then you're sort of wasting it, right? Like you're hitting people who are full health just because, And
you need to at least engage in the game by hitting your
with the dark stance.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you what the ability is called, by the way. I'm not a hell expert by any means.
I'm gonna assume it's something like Soul Suck. I have no idea. Let me look it up while you tell me.
What I actually landed on, though, and I believe this is the most neutral, cannot possibly be wrong feature for this.
It's called Decay and Restoration.
Decay and Restoration. Okay, that rings a bell a little bit. Okay, but I've gone for cleansing allies from CC.
I think
this does not count. Yeah, this does not count if you cleanse someone just randomly. They have to actually receive CC. But even something like a slow does count.
Yeah, this is something I would like to see for like a Geb, because like Geb shielding someone to actually use the shield as a cleanse is so valuable. And if you had that just as a tracker that people knew about, because I feel like people don't use the Geb shield as that. They just use it for the
they just use
especially lower levels. So I think just teaching newer players, teaching older players that maybe don't know about this, that the Geb shield cleanses just fucking would be perfect to have something like this. And yeah, I think cleansing, I would probably, because Hell is a stance switcher, I would probably say that you would have to do something with the 2 as well. So it would have to be
in dark sense,
similar thing where they would have to alternate, and it would have to be cleansing someone and then debuffing an enemy.
Cleanses or debuffs in one, like again, total combined in one game.
Yeah, I think something like that, because I don't think you need it to be every other. In the same way with the 1, because the 1 is more abusive with you being able to one someone even if they don't need healing, versus the 2 that you actually need to cleanse someone for it to count.
Yes.
So I think total amount of cleansing and debuffing.
Because even if you're just spamming both of those, right,
you're contributing.
It's still benefiting the team. Yes, you could be doing better, but like if you're full cooldown Hell just spamming 2s on everyone, like. There are much worse things you could be doing, especially if it's just Race to Radiant. So
it also incentivizes you to keep you and your team alive. So you're incentivized to use your 1 and 3 in light stance just to keep your teammates alive, so that you can cleanse them again. And then keep debuffing the enemy. I mean, there's some minor thing where you want the team fight to last longer, so you would never damage the enemies, I guess. But
Again,
might
like people
not.
extending the match is
Yeah,
something you absolutely cannot control
you're just gonna run into that
in
no
these
matter
sorts of
what with
things.
this
So
race to
yeah,
radiant stuff. I mean, that's
yeah,
something we see now anyway. So,
yeah.
but yeah, I think this probably is my favorite one. Um,
Okay, nice. Yeah, good.
I think the Ishel one is pretty great. This one is probably my favorite though,
Mm,
because it involves her most of her kit
yeah,
to some extent,
even
and
indirectly. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, and it's because the Ishel one is so focused around her ult that you would, again, just like build cooldown, only only be an
yeah.
ult bot the whole team or the whole game. Whereas the like hell, because it's a normal ability, you might as well throw out healing just to keep your team alive, and
Yeah.
that just makes just inherently you be more valuable to your team than if you were just waiting for a perfect ult as an Ishel, for example.
Yeah, I get you.
But yeah, I think you've done very admirably here,
Hell
Judas.
yeah.
Yeah, I'd very much like to see more of these. If
All right, yeah. Let's like every roadmap then, every like
Yeah,
extension. I'm gonna be like, hey, this is what we could be doing, guys.
and we will keep
Um,
slamming on this drum until Hyros changes it. Okay.
Yes, yeah. And call to action, by the way, if anyone can think of a way to break these, please do. Because if we
Please
really
do.
want, again, if this is something that we want to push as like, hey, this is something that is better than Race to Radiant, I would like it to be like sort of tested, right? Like the two of us just coming up with ideas and thinking of if we can break it, it's fine. But if anyone else like has some like to make it as convoluted as possible, right? Like
Yeah.
again, extending the game or having a 5 stack or randomly queuing a full 5 stack into your friend's full 5 stack and manipulate. Like we can't control that, right? Like there is absolutely no way we could prevent that unless you make it like ranked specific. You have to
Yeah,
win specific, but that's getting a bit
that is
too
too. Yeah,
far. It's still meant to be fun. It's still meant to encourage you to want to play the god. But again, I think this incentivizes playing the god well. And it
yeah,
also kind of scales with your personal skill level, right? Because again, things like cleansing people with hell. If you are a high level game, because you're a high level player, you will get much use out of this. If you're a low level player in a low level game, you could also get a lot of use out of this, right? It's not just an
true.
inherent, oh, you can only do this if you're deity plus or whatever. So yeah, try to break it. Let's try to get like something changed here because I hate Race to Radiant so much.
Dude.
I do know the
Oh,
benefits. Maybe one day we'll have a little segment where we talk about, oh, look, it does this, it does benefit with data, people playing the god. Fine. I hate it. I think this is better.
yeah,
Yeah, I would love to see some kind of change. And again, not just complaining. This is genuine thought about this for weeks now. We've been discussing this issue. This is what I've come out with.
yeah,
And yeah, well, we're trying to break it. If anyone can break it, or anyone has any other ideas, right? That would be cool. If even for gods that already exist, right? Like I like this idea of just these high scores for playing the god well, right? I think this is cool. I know the trackers already do this, but again, the whole point of this is within the first couple of weeks of the god coming out, before guys on Reddit have had the chance to, math the way through the best way to, efficiently do this. You have a crunch time, right? That's what makes the sort of the race aspect of it. So, yeah, I like this. I hope other people like this idea as well. But yeah, I'd love to see it broken as well if
yeah.
possible.
Leave a comment below, or on the Reddit, or in the Twitch chat. If you catch us live, just let us know if you have a way to break any of Judas's alternative Race to Radiant tracking points. Yeah, would love to see, like, there's probably so many more creative people out there than me that can find a way to do this. That new patch that is coming with Ishel, open beta 41, I think it is at this point.
Wow.
I think it's 41. Which that's a lot of patches. That is a lot
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
patches. We have had one every 2 weeks since open beta began, which, if people are keeping count, means we're pretty close to 2 years now.
Yeah.
50 open beta 52 would be the 2 year mark. We're 11 patches away. In this new
Nice.
patch, though, other than Ishel and some skins and such, there's two main things I want to bring up. Judas, you know more about the other one of them. I think I know a lot about the other. Let's tackle Echo first. I'll just give it a quick
Yes.
intro, and then you I'll bring the items up on the screen while you talk about them.
So,
Yeah.
couple new items, right? It's interesting that Echo has had to have this sort of real change. Like this is something that was introduced, and a lot of people have just kind of ignored it. I like to play around with some different builds every now and then, right? So I don't always build the same items. And every now and then I've bought an item that has Echo on it without even really recognizing it because again, Crusher has Echo, if you didn't know. I didn't know. I just built Crusher because it's a good item and I know what it does. And then the number pops up. What was that? Oh, it was Echo. Okay, cool. I don't really care, right? And I think a lot of people sort of felt
Yeah.
into the same trap of Echo's just there. It the person receiving the damage from Echo doesn't really know. The person dealing it doesn't really know either. So it needed a bit of a change. And it's interesting to see that they have gone for this change and actually repurposed quite a few items, which is a good way to do it. We've touched before on having like placeholder artwork. It's nice that they've gotten over that and or at least got a way around that for most of these. So yeah, we get to see things like Eye of the Storm back and the Totem of Death back and stuff. These are all good. These are good changes, and it's good to see these items back in the game, right? Again, it's not placeholder artwork. It's an item that you're aware of before. It just does something different now.
Yeah.
And you see there's 5 items that are now echo based. The Crusher change there is literally just saying that it removed the echo because it was pointless. We didn't need echo on Crusher. But yeah, there's 5 items and mixed opinions for me, Nickel. Some of them I like, and some of them I don't like so much.
Yeah. I think what we clearly see here with these new items is that Hi-Rez had this idea of what they wanted Echo to be. Um, and I think the initial thought was, okay, how do we bring crit to mages or to like
Mhm.
abilities without it
Yeah,
feeling bad to play against? So you instead of like actual just percentage more damage on an ability, they added this echo thing, which a game like Dota 2 or League of Legends already have crit on abilities that you can get by buying ability crit items,
hmm
but it just works as basic attacks in Smite, right? Where percentage of the time it does more damage. What Hi-Rez clearly wanted to do is add like, okay, if you hit an ability, we want there to be like an extra thing. It's not just the
hmm
ability now suddenly hits for more. It's got to be like this extra thing on top of it. And I think at the since the very beginning, they probably had some idea that they wanted to bring in some of these items or like a similar idea to these items where if you do echo, something happens. Like we see with
yeah,
Demon Blade, like if you crit, you get more attack speed, more movement
yeah,
speed. And now this is them bringing that in. And I think they realize that the current ecosystem probably isn't working. It is hard to play against. It's hard to realize what is happening to you, and it just makes burst character even more bursty because they now suddenly can hit you twice.
yeah,
Obviously with a reduced amount of damage for the second time. So what they are pivoting towards with these items is instead of the characters like Scylla or Opwash to some extent. People who have a lot of burst, they want these people to not be able to build Echo as effectively, and rather have the people that can deal dot damage to proc Echo multiple
yeah,
times. They want it to be an Echo focused build instead of just like something you add on top of an already damage
yeah,
like build. So it's like if I'm going the Echo build this time or
yeah,
this game, means I want as much Echo as I can, which will trigger Echo as much as possible, which will give me extra stuff, whatever that stuff might be, depending on the items you choose. And you can see with these items that all of the items is if Echo, this happens.
yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty much my take on it.
And that is what these items do. And some of them do it in a good way. Some of them do it in a bad way. I think I'll get
I
the
mean,
simple ones out of the way.
that is like high risk guarantee, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, that is the high risk guarantee. So, for anyone who can't see, two of the simpler ones that I want to touch on first. So, it is an Echo rework of Cosmic Horror. So this is gains a passive effect of each time you echo, gain +1 stack. At 3 stacks, the next time you echo, you spawn a tentacle that deals bonus damage, bonus magical damage, which it says is 45% of int over 1.5 seconds. Stacks are removed when a tentacle spawns, and tentacles can spawn once every second and only hit on jungle or god boss hit. And the second item I want to talk about is the Echo rework of Totem of Death. And this is a passive effect of every time you echo, deal bonus magical damage equal to 10% of the target's missing HP. Again, can only affect gods and jungle bosses and can only occur once every second. So these items both do the same thing slightly differently.
Yeah.
And I think this is actually a nice way to introduce this type of echo. So this is functionally basically the same as echo already was, in that it does the same effect. It does like a little bit more damage, again, slightly differently. To me, this is Cosmic Horror. You build it against squishy targets, and Totem of Death, you'll build this against tankier targets. This is very similar to the flat pen versus percent pen sort of argument here. It's basically that
Yeah.
as an echo item. So if you're up against you might just build both of these items. Don't get me wrong. You might just build both, but if you had to pick one, if you're planning on hitting squishier targets, it's Cosmic Horror. Planning on hitting tanky targets, it is Totem of Death, and it is as simple as that. I think these probably work even in non-echo builds in a similar way, right? Like I think you can just kind of have these in, and it's just a bit of extra damage. But these are the less echo build echo items, right? To me, this is the I want some extra damage. Here's one way that does it. Here's another way that does it. These are for the math heads, right? The people who like to really work out what the best build is and stuff. These are items I think you'll see quite often, but slotted in. Your build does not revolve around this item. You're probably not even building it like second or third. These are probably like fourth or fifth item slots, but they're pretty cool. They're pretty fun. It's just nice ways for mages to do this type of damage. Again, it's not the easiest thing at the moment in Smite 2 to build a mage that specifically kills tanks. You don't really like. You have things like Soul Reaver in the game, but you just kind of build those anyway. Yeah. It doesn't really do that much for you. Whereas I think this Totem of Death is a really good way to add that. I think Cosmic Horror also would kind of do that, right? Just extra. It's like a chunk of flat damage, right? And yeah, I think these are interesting enough items. Did this jump out at you at all, Nickel, when you first read this?
I mean, when I read Totem of Death, I was like, "Whoa, that sounds a little strong." If every time you echo, you basically have a chance to execute if they are below a certain threshold.
No, it is 10% of missing HP. So
yeah,
it does.
So it's like if let's say, wait, let me just math for a second. If they have 10, so if they have 20% less, 20 HP left, sorry, means it's 80% of their health. Let's say, to make it easy, it's 80 health versus 20 health. They would now do 8 damage to their 20 health.
If they had 20 health left, and they took 10% of their missing HP,
that's 8 damage out of the 80. No, isn't that 10% of 80?
Yes. So, no, yeah. Sorry, it would be the 80 to 8 damage.
I don't know,
but it doesn't execute. It would do like the 8 damage on the 20 health, right?
So yeah, right. I don't know if there's, because I'm horrible at math, so I don't know if there's any situation where the 10% of your missing health can equal your current health.
It would be if you had 100 health again. So it would have to be 10% of 99. So let's say you had 9 health left. Well, no, you'd have 1 health left. It would hit that mark, but it will never be like the deciding factor, I don't think.
Okay.
But it's just more damage if someone has built health. So it will be more effective again against generally tankier targets because the tanky targets have health.
For someone like Anubis, who can 3 and 1 you at the same time. He will proc Echo so many times over that. Like, okay, it's once every second, so if he layers them perfectly, as in he first waits out the 3, then starts the 1, he can probably echo you. I don't remember exactly how long they are, but let's say 5
That would
times.
be about 5 seconds. Yeah.
Yeah, so about 5 times he echoes you, and obviously you take damage from the actual ability and all the other items he has.
Yeah.
Doesn't this just so rapidly stack up that it's just gonna feel like you're taking way too much damage? It just feels to me like you're gonna be bursted down by someone that is technically a dot damage character, like an Anubis or a Kukulkan, who places the whirlwind on you, and suddenly you just take like 10% extra of your missing
Extra
health
chunks.
every
Yeah.
time or every other tick or so.
It definitely like has the potential to do that, but it won't be, at least my interpretations, it won't be outrageous. Because even if we are talking if we use some more real smite numbers rather than like 100,
Yeah,
right? Let's say someone is missing 3,000 health. That is already a low health tank, and that's when that would be doing 300 damage per tick. Again, it's magical damage, which then gets resisted by protections, and then comes into things like it's not 10% of your missing HP. It is 10% of your missing HP minus protections, mitigations, and
right,
everything.
of
It
course,
applies
yeah.
after that. It's not just like a true damage shred type of thing. So even at like its best case scenario, it's more effective when you're finishing off a target. So
Gotcha.
you will take exponentially more damage, but if you've received 100 damage and then this procs, it is doing 10 extra damage.
Uh,
It is not
Okay.
chunking you down. It will finish kills off,
Yeah,
but it
so
won't be
I
like
misunderstood the
yeah,
item, and that's why it like jumped out at me. But
yeah.
it might
But a
I'll
lot of
have to
times
see it
you
in action, of course. But this, yeah, for the most part,
yeah,
anyway, with these all changes, it looks like they're trying to make the the echo it makes echo more viable for people who can deal dot
yeah.
damage,
Yes,
um,
yeah,
tick it multiple
definitely.
times. Yeah.
Dots is better. You wouldn't really want this on a Ra,
All
even
right,
with like the
right,
Ra
yeah.
2 being the way it is, unless it's like an attack speed Ra, which could be cool actually. Attack speed Echo Ra. Yo, I'm cooking something there. That sounds really fun. But your snipe will do no damage unless you happen to proc it on someone who is missing quite a lot of HP, and then you get these sort of procs chaining. Again, a lot of time you might actually be better off with Cosmic Horror because it does this extra sort of flat damage, which
Right.
might end up being better. Plus, like if they have over 50% health,
Yeah.
Cosmic Horror is probably better. If they have under 50% health, it might be Totem of Death is better.
I've seen
It kind of depends
these
on how your health goes.
tentacles in a video. Do you know if that is unavoidable damage?
To me, it says it's unavoidable, but it looks like
Okay.
it. I don't know, it feels like it could be a bit like the old Rada Tahuti type of effect, where it's a sort of
Like a
has to.
like a
If
shot?
Cosmic Horror is not guaranteed, it's a lot worse.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking it's guaranteed, but you
I
never
just
really know.
I don't know why. I guess unless for visual clarity, and if it is for visual clarity, then props to Hi-Res, because this is one of the things Echo is really lacking for the receiving player.
Yeah.
But if it's not, if it can be avoided by a dash or whatever, then I think that will really suck for Cosmic of Horror. If it is just for visual clarity, then I think it's great that they're having these
Yeah.
literal tentacles spawn, so that you know, okay, now I got echoed and hit by
It's
some.
especially with this because it's a damage over time that you
Yeah,
might need to use something to protect yourself. All right, you might need to Aegis it, you might need to get a shell, which you wouldn't know if it was just like an icon on your passive meter, right?
right.
Like it could be potentially hard to keep track of exactly what's new, especially when it's 1.5 seconds. So yeah, it's handy to see that this is something that, like you say, oh, I've been hit by the tentacle. I'm gonna take some extra tick damage because
Right.
that's one thing I think Red Buff has an issue with right now. You might think, oh, I
Yeah.
just barely survived. Oh no, I died
Yeah.
because Red
Because
Buff
you
ticked,
don't.
and
Yeah.
yeah, it's like impossible. Like they have got this like sort of poison effect on it, which I think it has a sound now too, which is good. But yeah, it's still not the easiest thing to keep track of, particularly with all the sorts of dots in the game. But another big shout to Totem of Death, and this is something I'll touch on in a moment when we get to the other items. I think there is potential there for that to be used in a tanky build because
Oh.
it is not just again, it's 10% of targets missing HP. You could hit them for 1 damage and echo on the 1 damage, and they will still take this 10% of missing HP. And I think that is this is an interesting. Again, you'll see this more with the other items. An interesting concept of echo damage, not just being for mages now, and actually being something you could put on solo laners. I think is the mindset here, and it seems like it'll work for both. But so with the other 3 items, Nickel. Again, I mentioned this earlier. There is one that I hate, there is one that I like, and there is one that is interesting.
All right, can I guess?
Do you think? Okay, yeah, hit me with the guess.
So, of the 3 other items, which one was are there? Sorry, it's
Damaru, Eye of the Storm, or Omen Drum.
Okay. So, I would say you like Eye of the Storm. You don't like Damaru. Yeah.
Wrong.
Okay.
It is the other way around. I like Damaru. I do not like Eye of the Storm, and I find Omen Drum quite interesting.
Yeah, Omen Drum.
Should I start with a negative and
then
loop back to the positive?
For the guy who commented on a Reddit post that we were way too negative, we are now going to do negative first, then the positive. So if you don't want to hear negatives, skip ahead a few minutes.
Yeah, just fast forward a little bit here, because I am going to shit on this item. I'm going to ruin this one because I hate it. Okay. So for anyone who doesn't know, Eye of the Storm. 2,600 gold, 40 strength, 4 health regen, and 20 echo. But the important thing is the passive effect is each time you echo, gain +1 stack. At 20 stacks, the next time you echo, you open a storm within 4.8 meters, dealing physical damage, 10 plus 15% strength over 3 seconds, and it only spawns on god or jungle boss hit. Nickel, what are they thinking with this item? Okay, let me just run this down for you, right? And the RNG fest in what is meant to be a competitive game. You have 20 echo, which effectively works out to be 20% echo, right? Let's just call it that, is the simple way to sort of put it in. So you're going to be hitting with abilities that you hope will echo, and each time it echoes, you gain some kind of stack. You might not echo, right? And if you only had this as your echo item relatively early, you're not going to echo that often.
20 echo is not that much.
Let's say 1 in 5 abilities you're going to be echoing on.
Yeah.
So 1 in 5 out of your ability hits, you will echo. Now, this tells me that it actually gains stacks off of any echo, but only triggers the full effect on the actual gods or jungle boss hit. Is that what you're seeing there as well? So you can echo on a minion and it will gain you a stack.
Yes, because it says only spawns. It doesn't say it only gains stacks on god or jungle boss hit.
Yeah.
So it's only the storm that spawns in the jungle boss hit. Yeah.
I think this is where the where the balancing has come in, right? Because let's say you're playing Hades, whatever, and you hit
would you want Hades with a physical strength item? I don't know.
I have no idea, but here we go. Hades build an Eye of the Storm. I've seen worse, no doubt.
Okay.
So I would just say as an easy option with Hades, you frequently hitting the entire wave, right?
Yeah.
And ideally the other character. So let's say you're generally hitting 7 enemies. Let's do some quick math. Sort of with 7 enemies on a 1 in 5 chance, you're probably proccing echo once or twice every wave. Okay.
Yeah.
Then when you're hitting the enemy in between, again, it's 1 in 5. Let's say you're never proccing before the other waves. So every 30 seconds, you are building about 2 stacks. Okay, and this is if like averages work out okay. So you'd have to go through 10 waves, right?
Yeah.
With just this as you build your starter item and you start Eye of the Storm because you want to get as many procs as possible. You'd have to go through 10 waves before this works. So that's 5 minutes of hitting every wave. Again, not counting jungle camps and Totem of Ku and everything here. This is going to get a bit complicated. But you're getting about 5 minutes. So let's call it 4 minutes of just time where you're trying to proc as many echoes as you can. And then one time where you hit a god, you will then summon this storm. Now, it doesn't say the storm does anything that Eye of the Storm used to do, right? Where it used to have this like vortex effect. It looks like it's just an AoE around you. I couldn't tell you how big 4.8 meters is in this game. Probably pretty big, pretty about the size of a Jing channel sort of spin. To me, that's a pretty
Is it
big
that
size.
much? Yeah, I think maybe
I think it could be. That's how it
something like
feels.
that. Yeah.
So you get this storm around you that does some damage over 3 seconds. But does that tick? Or is that just one time it does 10 plus 15% strength?
I mean, it says it
To
does
me, that's
damage
just
over 3 seconds.
right.
So I
Does
assume it would tick, and then it would either calculate. So it does. So it ticks and does the damage that it would do over 3 seconds. So let's say it was gonna do 20 damage. Let's do 30 because that's easier to divide by 3, and then it does like 10 damage
Yeah.
per tick, or it would do 10 damage plus 15% strength every tick over 3 seconds for, let's say, 2 ticks a second, so every half second or whatever. But I don't know.
So I think right. I think we might be missing some information off this. It should tick multiple times, probably over like 5 seconds. It ticks like 5 times, right? That type of thing, or just however often someone's in it. So you have something that takes about 4 minutes to stack. Again, in a simple game, when you get to late game, it'll start proccing more often. But it takes a while to stack up that you are not in control of in any way. You have to use abilities on the wave. Presumably, if you're building this, you're an ability-based god. You have to use your abilities on the wave. So you might end up proccing this when you've missed the rotation. Your opposing laner has rotated to another lane, and you've hit the. I suppose you can't proc it before then, but yeah, you might just be sat there with 20 stacks, and there's no one to proc it off of, and then you might end up where you do get ganked by a jungle or whatever. You proc it while you're trying to run away. You end up hitting them with something that causes you to echo, causes you to pop this storm, and you run away. Or best case scenario, the target you want is in your lane, you've got the right amount of stacks, you hit them, and this vortex pops up, and the enemy jumps away. And there goes your vortex, and there goes all of the stuff that you had built, invested quite a lot of gold into, by the way. 2,600 is not a cheap item. And then, to make it even worse, I am envisaging this item is built on solo laners who probably have high cooldown or multiple abilities. You think things like King Arthur, maybe Cucullin.
Right, yeah.
People who want to just sort of hit things as often as they can. But now it scales off of your strength. So if you don't build any strength, you're not going to get much damage out of this, particularly in the late game when, hey, that's when you're going to have it proccing more often. So what is the point of this item? It sometimes might have a really good effect. The other 20 minutes of its gameplay life cycle, it's just doing absolutely nothing. I don't know what they were thinking. The old Eye of the Storm was oppressive, but this is ridiculous.
What I do wake up, sweating at night, thinking when it comes to Hyris, I do often think, what were they thinking? What the fuck were they thinking? Really? This is what you've decided to do? Yeah.
Why does it have to be Echo? Why does it have to be done this way? Again, things like the Echo potentially proccing off of the wave. It could be that you could potentially get this in 3 waves, right? If luck is on your side, you proc it. But then if you get that lucky and then the storm activates, let's say you're level like 5 or whatever, like you've had a good start, built the item early, you come down and hit the wave twice or 3 times, and all of a sudden you've stacked it because you're hitting your opponent in between it. And then the Eye of the Storm proc is so strong that it kills your opponent. They're going to nerf the item into the ground because you can't have that. So if you can't have that, what can you have with this item? Like it just is not. It just doesn't feel that well thought out. It seems like they've played it very safe. But like even things like, what if it was just not Echo? It's just when you hit your opponent with an ability 10 times, enemy god with an ability 10 times, on the 10th hit, it procs the effect.
That seems like such a more easy, like it seems to fit this item way more because it's more consistent. You can more easily proc it. It's not no randomness. You can play
Mm-hmm.
around it. Now you just have to hope and pray. Like, oh, I jump in, I hit people. Oh my god! And then, oh,
Yeah.
I was on 19 stacks. I just so happened to not echo once in.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you could
Unlucky.
potentially jump into a team fight and never echo, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh man, my item didn't go off.
Yeah.
Why could it be an active item again? It's
Yeah.
just we have these things in the game. Why are we doing this? Like, have you seen how the new Silver Branch bow works? Right, that just goes off of you hitting random basics. It's a homing arrow. We were talking about that item. Like, oh, I wonder what this is gonna look like. It's a homing arrow, man.
They clearly have the systems in place for this.
Yeah,
They just decided that, oh, echo is the new cool thing on the block. Let's just add this on this item for fun. Yeah.
yeah. And yeah, this item is it's either this is the problem, right? It is either going to be built by everyone because if you roll the dice, you just win the lane,
Yeah.
or you are never ever going to build it because it just doesn't function cohesively.
I
Right?
think you can
I don't know
never
what going to
build
build
this
on.
as your first echo item. I think this has to be
Yeah,
like a second or third echo item because it's too unreliant. It has to be a Damaru, at least a Damaru before you build this.
yeah.
Maybe a Crusher.
But you also probably need some strength.
Oh,
Right?
actually,
Like
no,
you need
not
to...
Crusher anymore.
Yeah, you can't even build Crusher
Yeah.
with it. And the other echo items, as far as I can tell, don't give strength. So, yeah, you're gonna have to. Again, this is a item that has to work either with Damaru and Omen Drum as well. So, like, you build it third, but then it's not procking. Well, like, it will proc often, but it just won't do any real damage as far as I can see. Again, we don't know how often it ticks. But yeah, Eye of the Storm. Just don't even put it in. Just for anyone listening, do not ever build this. Just don't build it. Because if it's good, any win you get is cheap and it is tarred by the fact that this item is OP.
Okay.
And
to
yeah,
all your
every
crit
time you
lovers
beat
out
it,
there, same goes for you, okay?
yeah, no one.
You're
yeah,
just
like,
lucky. You're just lucky.
yeah, you just get in luck. That's all it is. But yeah, no, this is even worse than crit. I think if I lost to this, I'd be furious. Like if someone just jumps on me and the Eye of the Storm procs and I die, and then I teleport back to lane and they jump on me again and Eye of the Storm happens to proc again, I'd be outraged. I'd be absolutely outraged to lose to something like that.
I mean, what?
Yeah.
I gotta say, like, why echo instead of just ability crit? And then who had a hard on was like, oh, I know how to make echo great. What if we add stacks to every item? So echo by itself is not good. It's only when you echo 17 different times that's when it goes crazy. And it's like, okay, so you just added randomness and then you've added randomness on top of the randomness. So it's like, if I play against a Kukulkan, I get hit by his tornado and he has echo and I'm like, oh no, I've taken a lot of damage here. And then next time I get hit by his 3, I suddenly don't take that much damage because he didn't echo that much. And then the next time I take damage from it, suddenly he procs all of his echo items at once because of all the stacks. If I'm a new player, what the fuck is happening?
What is going on?
What is going on? There's no indication of what is going on. I have no way of tracking his stacks. Like, what the fuck? Alright, well, we said we weren't going to be too negative. So
yeah.
So let's jump on the positives.
I will then move over to Damaru. So again, I'll read this out for anyone who is just listening. So it is 2,500 gold, 20 echo, 10 cooldown rate, an adaptive stat, either 35 strength or 50 int, obviously based off of whichever one of yours is highest. And then the passive effect, which is each time you echo, hitting a god or jungle boss, gain +1 stack of rhythm. And each stack of rhythm gives 2% movement speed for 5 seconds. And at 5 stacks, you remove all stacks and gain harmonized, which is 15% move speed
no wonder
for
you love
10
this item.
seconds.
For those who don't know, Judas is a drummer. And this this is like a drummer's dream.
Just playing my rhythm, man. This is right on beat.
No
anyway,
wonder you love this item.
So, I quite like this item because this is something that I don't think we really have in Smite 2, and I can't think of a time where we really have had it, but it's been something that would have been cool for any time in Smite's life cycle, which is basically an item I perceive this to be an item for mages that you don't build it to do the most damage, but you build this as a defensive item without it giving you protections in any way, right? So a lot of times, particularly common right now, you might round out your mage build with something like a breastplate of valor, right? Because it gives you a bit of health, protections, and some cooldown reduction. You pretty much always want your defensive item to give you a bit of cooldown at least that you can use somewhat aggressively. But generally, it's some item. We see ethereal staff sometimes, which is you build it for the health that's coming on. This is building something that gives you cooldown and echo, which presumably will work with the rest of your build. And while it does give 50 int or strength, that's not a lot. It's not like a huge chunk of extra damage. But the effect where you get this move speed from hitting rhythm, it allows you to sort of kite around a fight, because one thing they've been hesitant to put into Smite 2 is movement speed during combat, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty niche at the moment. It's something you only get from certain gods or effects.
Yeah,
pathfinding is the other stat, which is when you're not in combat. This is not pathfinding, or at least as far again from what I'm reading, this is move speed. So this allows you to sort of accelerate around a fight a little bit while dishing out your damage. You know who's going to really love this item is Ishal, because that's what she does already. This is what Hell does already, where you sort of you don't want to be dipping in and out of the fight. You want to be maneuvering within a fight. So I think you could see some really cool effects with this, and as long as there's some kind of effect, I think there needs to be some sort of visual outer person effect on the harmonized effect, because you need to know if you're the opponent. We know they're getting movement speed every now and then when they're using abilities, but there needs to be like a boom, like a boom, 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 when there's this harmonized effect. That
would be dope.
So that we know. They're gonna start zooming at me. 15% move speed for anyone who doesn't really know. That is a lot. That is incredibly noticeable. I don't think it has much of a speed buff from junglers.
Yeah, it's very clear when someone pops sprint at you. This needs the same kind of thing, I would say.
Yes,
something like
it's the same thing of there's a sound. They hit the gas pedal. They are going to be running me down. You need to know that this is coming through. Same as when they're running away. If you hear them like drop an ability behind them and then boom, 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 boom comes through, then they're zooming away. I know I can't chase this because they've had their Damaro proc. I think this is a good item. I think this is cool. I think it is not just... You don't put this in every build. You don't build this on every god. The gods that use it well will be really, really strong with it, I think. And gods that don't really use this that well could potentially gain some kind of boost for it. You think even just gods that have movement speed in kit, you think Ra, you think Kukulkan. If they also then get this speed boost, boom, they're going to be absolute like Formula 1 cars. It doesn't cohesively make their damage higher, but it makes their safety better. But also, if you just CC them down and lock them in place, they still die. It's the way more fun version that I've been talking about on all these podcasts is like, hey, let's make things good in some situations and pointless in other situations, and that's really good. And this is exactly what I like Damaro for. I think it's again versatile. I think it is. You could build this on tanky characters as well. And I think you could see a lot. I think we will see this in the solo lane without Eye of the Storm, because it doesn't do anything for you. just build Damaro, and it's way like you could build this first, right? Like you could build this as your first item, and that movement speed will be more effective at that point in time. Before everyone's got their relics online or their active items built up, I could really see a lot of strength. I could also see this as good as a last item. You just throw it. I don't know what to get. I'm going to get Damaro for some extra safety, and that'd be really cool. So, thumbs up to this item. Really, really big fan of this, and I hope we'll see a lot of this coming up.
Yeah, this is like you already touched on it, but just to reiterate the point, we touch on this every podcast. What we really want to see from Smite, as the game we love, is you. There has to be taking and giving sort of thing. There's got to be compromises made with items, with characters, with kits, whatever. This is an item that works. What I see a parallel with is like a Cocolan Rage build up. It's similar to that, where you have skill expression where you can stack it up. Let's say you're a jungler. I think this is an item that would work great on a lot of junglers because you would build up that movement speed and then you can zoom around in the jungle. but you would purposely, maybe if you're at 4 stacks, you would purposely not take the last last camp or whatever, because you don't want to proc Echo and proc the 15% movement speed too soon, because you'll be sitting at 8% movement speed at 4 stacks, and that's pretty fast, or a little faster. But you would want that 15% movement speed in combat or chasing down a target or something like this. So you will always have this little mini game you're playing by yourself, and you have you run the risk of either procking it too soon by accident, or procking it, or thinking, okay, now I'm gonna proc it on like when I gank, and then the gank fails, or the guy gets away, and then you're like, oh,
now I'm just fast.
yeah, now I'm fast, but I have nowhere to go or nothing to do. But it's like you had to make a decision. You had to use skill expression. You had to think about this. You had to actually, interact with the map to make yourself as strong as you want to be. It's just it's one of these like give and take items like we've been talking about, or that just feels like it gives depth to the game and gives you something to focus on beyond just controlling your character and these kind of things, that will give you an edge if you know how to use it. And that's what you want skill expression to be, is if you have the knowledge as well as the hands to press the buttons in the right order, you will be able to transcend any other player that doesn't have this knowledge. That's kind of what you want. You don't want people to just luck into being better than you or just win a team fight.
Yes.
Right. So yeah, I think this is a genuinely great addition to the game. I can see so many applications to it.
Exactly, yeah. And that leads me into Omendrum, which I have said is my interesting item here. Now, it doesn't actually go through the full stats again, so I'm assuming it's just keeping the same stats as before, which I do not have to memory, sadly, so I'm just going to
read the passive
changes.
Yeah.
So the new passive effect for Omendrum is each time you echo, you get +1 Dark Resonance stack. By the way, they need to change this. This needs to be echo stacks. What is this, man? I know it's the Omendrum.
Because it's each time you echo, you get a different type of stack, and each time you get that stack, you get a different type of stack.
You could potentially be stacking Rhythm, Dark Resonance, and Eye of the Storm.
Yeah.
Each time, and the counters will all be going up and down at different times. Oh man, right. What I don't like all these different names and stuff, but particularly as a caster, right? I'm not talking about the Dark Resonance stacks coming through. I'm calling them Omendrum stacks.
Yeah.
If I'm ever calling it out,
no one has called Devourer's Gauntlet stacks as he's devoured that many.
Yeah,
he has 75 Devourers.
It used to have it. Yeah, it did used to have a name like Ravages or something.
Oh, okay, yeah.
No one's ever. It's Dev's glove stacks, right? Like we don't call it Dev's gauntlets, right? It's gloves. Anyway, it gives 1 Dark Resonance stack, and what a Dark Resonance stack is it gives 7.5% echo damage up to 30 stacks.
Yeah.
Now, stacks last 6 seconds, and stacks are halved when duration ends. I am assuming this means that if you echoed once every 5 seconds, it would continue to count up, and
until
not each
30.
Individual stack has its own 6-second timer. I don't believe that's how it goes.
That sounds stupid.
Terrible, right?
So, if it is like that, that sounds stupid.
So I believe you can maintain this.
I don't think you can. There's no way to stack it up to 30.
Yeah, you'd have to proc a million
you can't
times,
echo
right?
30 times within 6 seconds. I think that's impossible.
Yeah, I think that would be too much. But then so stacks last 6 seconds and are halved when duration ends. And in fact, that kind of answers the question, right? If it halves them, then so you would then start a new 6-second timer where, let's say you had 30, you will go to 15. If you don't echo again, you will go to 7 probably. But then the interesting last effect, which I don't believe we've ever seen in Smite before, is while Damaru is harmonized, gain +100% echo damage. Now, I had to read this like 3 times. So I was like, wait a sec, Damaru is the other item. So this is an item that scales somewhat depending on another item. That's pretty cool.
I think that is amazing. I think that's so fun.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the very fun things about this is like that's an interesting concept. I wonder if we'll explore that further. This seems like a bit of an experiment, right? Like
Yeah,
does this work?
I think
Um,
the I can see the writing on the wall. One of these items is going to be horrible. The other one is going to be great, and you're either going to have to build Omen Drum even though you don't want to, just to get that Demario, or I guess the other way around. You're going to have to build
yeah,
Demario even though it sucks to just to get the Omen Drum extra damage, or you're just never going to build Omen Drum.
yeah, yeah.
That's what I predict, just because that's kind of
That's just kind
the
of how it goes, right?
that's the
Like you
Iris
say,
MO.
the problem with this, while it is a very cool idea, and I want to reinforce this, I find this item interesting. This isn't good or bad. This is interesting.
Yeah.
Um, the price of Omen Drum will have this effect factored in.
Mm.
You absolutely could not balance this item around this effect sometimes being available,
Yeah.
right? So this is why it's an experiment. This is probably why we haven't seen it before. However, like thinking about it, I'm not sure you would ever build Omen Drum without Damaru, right?
Yeah, that's the
Because you
thing
want
as
to
well. You
be
would want the echo,
echoing.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it does seem like Damaru's the base item, and then Omen Drum is like the enhancement item
Yeah.
that you'd always get after the fact.
Uh,
Which again we haven't seen before this blatantly. There's been little bits like this before. So my big awakening to this once upon a time was Smite One, Odysseus Bow, and Dominance had this effect where the Odysseus Bow proc would also be enhanced by Dominance. So that was
Oh.
like, I'm building Oboe. Okay, I'm building Dominance then because
Yeah, yeah.
they stack well together. You could build Dominance on its own, but if you build Odibo, you might as well build Dominance because it just does all of it just enhances everything you do, right? So this is a absolute direct version of this, where it is. If hey, Omen Drum is so much better if you also have Damaru, so you just have to build both.
Yeah.
Um,
I can see a world where Demaru can be built by itself, but Omen Drum needs to have
yes,
Demaru,
yes,
which will make it easier for Hyros to balance, I think, because
yeah, for
Demaru
sure.
can be good by itself, but uh, it Omen Drum will be exceptionally better with it.
Yeah,
My ideal version of how this will work is that you'll always want Demaru with Omen Drum, but you won't always want Omen Drum if you have Demaru.
yeah,
But you will. I hope that it will get to the point where it's similar when Set and Horus is in the same game. Where yes,
yes,
it's a nice bonus, but it's not the end all be all.
yeah,
Because
yeah, yeah.
you can still play Horus, you can still play Set without the other one in the game, on the other team. Because for those who don't know, Set and Horus has stacks, and their stacks increases double if they attack the other party.
Hmm.
So I would hope that this would be something similar where, you know, you can. I don't see Omen Drum being built without Mario, but you could. Would be nice.
Yes, yeah. I think it does. I think it is a cheaper item as well, if I'm remembering correctly. Obviously, I don't have the stats here, but I don't remember it being expensive. I think this was the item. If you were going Echo, you would build Omen Drum pretty early.
Mm.
At least when I've seen it before. So I don't think it's that expensive. Again, which might explain its point. The only issue I really have with it, so again, we have this thing of when Damaru is harmonized, you gain 100% echo damage. This just elevates the need for a sound cue
Yeah,
for Damaru procking. Right, you have to
for
know
sure.
that is going to happen. But this item also has it's all of the bad things of Echo rolled up as well, where so it's
Yeah,
each time you echo, your echoes will do more damage, potentially like a lot more damage as
yeah,
well,
yeah.
right? And that's just very hard to keep track of exactly how much damage a character is doing,
Yeah,
like at any one point,
this is the same like I
especially because
said
this stacks
earlier.
all the time.
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
the same as I said earlier, where me as the player being hit by Echo will have a horrible time at this because
yeah,
yes, press tab. I see you have Damaru as well as Omen Drum, so I know that it's gonna do more damage than normal. But I don't know when you harmonize, like how close you are to harmonizing. So if you are
yeah,
Kokolkin, like you proc that 3 on me, the dot damage, one of those dots is gonna proc the harmonize, and then by it procking harmonize is also then gonna proc the
yes,
echo way harder. So I'm
Yeah,
gonna be playing like walking down mid lane, having a great old
yeah,
time, and then suddenly out of nowhere, I'm gonna take way more damage than I'm ever used to. You
yeah,
don't like even if you actively think about things, like you will also intuitively pick up how much damage am I taking,
yeah.
and how like what's it called, like how daring can I be in this
Yes,
exchange
yeah, yeah.
against the enemy mid laner, and if your in intuition can't predict how much damage you're exactly gonna take, yeah, it's gonna be
And
rough.
it's bad for the game as well because it makes you play more defensively. If you have no idea what damage you're going to take, okay, I am not stepping up
Yeah.
because I don't know what sort of damage I'm going to take. Like you say, you can get hit by a tornado from Kukulkan and it's like, all right, 100, 200, 300, 600, 700, 1,000. Like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Whoa.
Like again, if you, there's certain things you know, right? If there's a Rile about to hit you and you cannot move, but you can Aegis, you
Yeah.
can look at your health and make a decision. Okay, do I think I need to Aegis this? Boom. If there's Echo involved, you have no idea. All right, with the big hitters, yes, but like if you get hit with that Anubis 3-1 combo, you might need to Aegis that,
Yeah.
or you might be totally fine, and you don't know. But the best part is, not even the Anubis knows,
Yeah.
like how much it's really gonna do. You know,
How
like
how are they gonna
you don't
counter
know
me if I
anything.
don't even know what I'm doing?
Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna go and hit this guy, and then he might be like, "Oh, I got no echo procs, and I died." Like you know, there's gonna be that streamer who's like, "Oh man, I got no echo, that's why I lost and
Mm.
everything," and it's like gonna be a classic clip of just people getting frustrated because they have no idea how much damage they're gonna do. It's nice to have a little bit of variance in things, right? Because you never really know how much damage you're gonna do at certain points, but some of the best smite plays can be made when you have like confirmation of things. Like
Yeah.
again, as a support main, I played Ares a lot
Yeah.
as one of my strongest gods, particularly at the start of Smite 2. And I have this this clip of a competitive game that I'm really proud of, where this is back when you had Talisman of Purification on everyone, but no one was building like individual
All
beads
right. Right.
really.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah, I was able to keep track. All right, I hit a 5-man ult. They're gonna talisman it. I hit another 5-man ult. They use their other talisman. Therefore, if I can hit the next one, there is no talisman. I know I can get a
Yeah.
pull.
Yeah.
Imagine if Ares had a 15% chance to just not pull someone. You're never playing that god, right? You're just
Yeah.
never doing that because it's nice to have these guarantees. Again, with Anubis, if you know, right, they don't have beads, I can stun them and ult them, and they are going down. As long as I can keep the track on them for long enough, they should be dying. If you don't know whether your damage is going to be 200 or 2,000, you then you don't engage as Anubis, right? You've built all these echo items, but oh man,
Yeah.
last time I went in, I didn't get any procs and I died, so I'm not going to do that again. Why wouldn't I just build lifesteal? So this echo is a risk. Again, I want to point out that my interest is in Omen Drum. I don't really think it's good. I don't really think it's bad. I just don't really
It's
like
interesting.
the concept of echo,
Yeah.
but this is a good way to see it in action, right? Let's give something like this. So, we've clearly built some echo items that can be built by tanky characters. I think a very genuine build for some soul lanes could be Damaro into Totem of Death eventually. I think that's fine. Honestly, I think I could see that. You have your mages. You probably build a Damaro in there, maybe an Open Drum to round out your build. You might stick a Cosmic Horror in there at some point. There's interest here. Um, there's still the potential that everyone just ignores this and builds Ratatouille and Spirit of Desolation
Yeah.
and Polynomicon and stuff, right? Like it's fine for there to be other build paths, but these have to be good in certain situations. Again, this is a much better way to see what Echo is all about, right?
Exactly.
Because up until now, it's just been a whatever stat. Now, all right, it's going to be the Echo build, and we'll see if the Echo build is actually worthwhile.
Right. And just so everyone knows who's listening, me, Judas, and myself, we're coming at this from a competitive, high level to some extent, Smite focus. You know, we want the game to be as professionally balanced for the hopes of an esports scene at some point, and for the ranked ladder to be as balanced and as much of a fun and fair experience as possible. Echo is a fun mechanic, but it might not be a good mechanic. You know, from
Yeah,
our point of view, it can be fun to play with if you're a casual player, if you play arena, if you play, these kind of fun game modes, or just play the game for fun. But from our point of view, and that's where we're coming from, it Echo seems like a crit on steroids right now, where
Yeah,
crit is already a problem by the fact that it has RNG. They fixed that by making it uh like increase the chance of you critting if you didn't crit on
if you
the
don't
in
crit,
hand
yeah.
beforehand, so that the player playing against you that is receiving the crits can kind of track that, okay, I'm probably gonna get crit now because he hasn't done that much damage on the first two basic attacks he did.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're not saying that this is horrible or in any way like ruining the game.
Yeah.
We are just cautiously trying to figure out if this is the right path. And if I had the option, I would probably remove Echo or at least rework it into something else. But that's not what we have, so we gotta stick with what we have. And right now, the Morrow, very interesting item. Omen Drum,
Yep.
incredibly interesting item. I have the Storm, can go fuck off, and that's pretty
Yep.
much all we have on Echo.
Yeah.
and
And look,
yeah,
like you say, Nickel, it's not that we're against fun. For a fun build,
no,
I
I'm
think
against
Echo is
fun.
really
Fuck fun.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
no, yeah.
I have flashbacks to. Do you remember in Smite 1 where they made Staff of Merthin an item which used to proc off like your ultimate or whatever, but then they made it so like your next cast like casts twice.
Yeah, if after
Yeah.
ulting, your next,
Yeah. Do you
yeah.
know do you know what I did with that item? I'm queuing into Arena at 3 a.m., playing Sobek, building Staff of Merthin, and plucking someone, and then catching them and plucking them the other way. That's what I did with that item. And I thought it was the funniest thing in the world. I'm like, yeah, this is so much fun. Do you think
Yeah.
my team appreciated it?
No.
Absolutely not. You can have fun, but we are talking, again, when I'm talking about, Eye of the Storm, terrible item, it should never be built. I'm assuming you are playing in like deity ranked, or you're like
Yeah.
in a competitive match for $20,000. Like, then you're not building it. If you want to mess around in Joust in a custom match with your friends, absolutely build Eye of the Storm and just see how many times you can proc it right. Totally fine.
Go for it.
But
Yeah.
that's not in general what we're going to be talking about. And yeah, that can be applied to pretty much everything, including like God balance changes too.
Yeah, for sure. So just keep that in mind, guys. Again, if you have any feedback whatsoever, please leave it in the comments below, or in the Twitch chat, or the Reddit post that I can post on Fridays. Other than Echo, though, the other big thing was aspects. Some minor
Yes.
reworks to the most. How do I say this without being mean?
Dog shit.
The worst fucking horrible dog shit I've ever seen in a video game of all time aspects we have in the game right now. Apollo, Athena, Cupid, Hercules, and Sobek. If these names ring a bell, it's probably because you don't even realize they have an aspect because they're never played. So Apollo's aspect was actually pretty popular for a while until they had
Yeah.
to nerf it. Because
Yeah.
it was too strong. It was played in solo. It was played in support. Even ADCs picked it up every now and then because
Mm-hmm.
basically his aspect was that his one could stack up much like Jingwei's two, and then you could just 1-1-1 in quick succession, and even with building semi tanky, that did more damage than a normal Apollo
Yeah.
could do, unless full build. So now we have I'll quickly go through them. Apollo, his two, the shield now applies to anyone outside of Apollo. The shield applied, outside of anyone other than Apollo are increased by 3% of Apollo's max HP, which means Apollo himself doesn't get this increase, but anyone outside will now get the shield on top of the actual shield. It's now also 3% of his max
Also
HP.
3%. Yeah.
Athena's shield wall no longer slows with her aspect. Again, this aspect makes her be able to target enemies, and she does a little more damage. The shield wall, her 3, no longer slows, but the pop of the 3, you put it down, and then after a few like 2 seconds, it pops and does damage again. This will now give her a reach stack.
Do we know if that has to hit?
I assume it doesn't, because none of the other abilities work like that.
Yeah.
Because what I assume is you 3
Yep.
reach. So you 3 throw your spear, pop, throw your spear, taunt, throw your spear, 1,
Yep.
and whatever. And like that will be your new combo. Also, her ult damage debuff now lasts for 3 seconds after you land. Cupid, this is one of the more interesting ones, so I'm going to do this one at the end. So we're going to skip Cupid a little bit. Hercules, his apotheosis big mode, so that is, when he stacks up his 4 stacks, no longer gives strength or cleave auto attacks, which is what it does in his normal stance. But it now applies to nearby allies, and his 3 grants plating. So plating being this new stat that they've added 5 or so patches ago, that basically gives you protections to get auto attacks. And then we have Sobek, Blessing of the Nile, which is his
Passive effect, I believe.
passive. Yeah. What does this passive do?
So a regular base Sobek, it's when if you start auto attacking things, he gets like this
Right,
sort
right,
of
right. Yeah.
reddish, like crown looking thing, and that gives I can't remember if it's mitigations or protections. I believe it's protections, but it could
Okay.
also be like 3% mitigation.
Gotcha. So his passive now gives you attack damage, meaning that this aspect is now leaning more towards it's being more aggressive, maybe a soul
Yeah.
laner, maybe a jungler. And his 1 and 2 have strength and int scaling. And the 2 knockback is now gone. I don't know about that change, because kind of what Sobek is like I have a couple of CCs, and you removed the one big CC, which was his 1 pluck, and now you're gonna remove another CC from his aspect. It's like, what is he supposed to do then?
I have something for this when we
All
get
right,
to that,
yeah.
actually. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, last Cupid. This is one that we'll talk about first. His heart bomb can now target allied gods when you hit allied gods with his 1. This was with this aspect, his heart bomb heals if anyone's around when it explodes.
Yes.
With now being able to fire it at gods, this is like, it opens up this aspect and this character in such a fun way. I think
Oh yeah.
it's like it just brings it all together. I feel like it was such a
Yep.
bad. It's not a bad aspect, but it was so weird as an aspect. Now I think it all comes together. If you stack up your 1 so it's gonna stun, you could pop it on your diving jungler or solo laner. They jump into the background, in the backline, enemy backline, and then they get a free stun before they start doing their craziness. And it's way easier to now confirm the heal on the targets you actually want to heal, instead of
Yep.
hitting an enemy with the heart bomb and telling your backline ADC
Okay,
or
go
whatever.
stand by that guy.
Yeah, go run by the enemy Sobek, by the way, like, because if you want that healing. So yeah, I think this is why I wanted to talk about this first, because it just, to me, makes the aspect go from something niche that you rarely ever see into something that can actually be very, very viable. What do you think here?
Yeah, I think what I love about the heart bomb change is it is now, again, exactly the type of thing we were talking about. It is such a telegraphed move that has a lot of play, right? Let's say you've got a Fenrir jungle on your team, and it's that whole standoff near Fire Giant, wherever everyone's like sort of dancing back around, and then Cupid heart bombs the Fenrir, right? Enemy team has to react,
Yep.
but you still don't have to commit, right? You've committed the heart bomb usage, but you now, oh, they might engage or they might not engage, right? It's like it opens up this sort of cat and mouse sort of game, or this sort of rock paper scissors of, oh, they've done this, now do we react? Like, you might see the heart bomb go into the Fenrir and think, I got to engage, I
Yep.
have to, because that's a strong combo, I have to deal with this. And yeah, like, you have the potential to, like you say, just mix things up. You could stick it on the target that you want to guarantee a heal on. You could stick it on the diving jungler to guarantee the stun. It's like, and some gods would really benefit from that stun. Imagine a Daji that's jumped on you,
Yep.
and you're one of those characters who can interrupt the sort of thousand claws thing. All of a sudden, you got a heart bomb stun on top of you. That's not getting interrupted anymore. It
Yeah.
could be potentially really strong. Again, no one was playing this aspect. I have given it a try, and it's fun. It's bad, but
It's
now
bad.
you can again.
Was bad,
I
yeah.
don't think you just. I think it's still pretty bad, But now you have the potential to make it work in a team phase where it's like that sort of B tier god, right? Where it's
Mm.
bad most of the time, but if you can build a team around it and build a competitive setting, right, this could be really cool. I could see a team just running a strategy with this. Maybe they have like a Loki, maybe they have a Cucullin who now has a lot more strength because they can attach this harp onto it. It's a very small change, but it makes this god, like you said, it opens up a lot. And yeah, I could see this being not very good, but definitely very fun and something that I think a lot of people will be picking up in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think it will also help the backline divers, like a Cocolan, a great example. Cocolan
Yeah,
non-rage form, he wants to blink in or get into the backline and then ult to knock everyone up as an engage. Now he doesn't have to have that big wind up of his knock up that everyone can see is telegraphed. You hear the blink, and then you hear "Rah!" or whatever he says, and then
yeah,
it knocks people up. Now he can wait until the heart bomb is about to explode and then blink. As it
yeah,
explodes, immediately get that stun just so he can confirm the knock up on everyone. No one gets
yeah,
to counter this. Then you can have. There's so many levels to this. I'm sorry. I really love this.
yeah.
You can now have a character like what's a good example? Okay, let's say Cocolin again, just to make it easy to understand. You blink in, stun, because you know that the backliners have beads, so they're immediately gonna beads, and then you wait out the beads, and then you knock them up.
And there you go. Yeah,
What a great thing. Ares, jump in or blink in, wait for the beads, then you ult. Fucking amazing, right? Like you can, and then on the other side, I see that Ares have that heart bomb. I see him walking at me. I'm just gonna get the fuck out of here. Or do I
yeah,
stand my ground because he's not gonna blink? He's not gonna dare to blink in. It adds so many levels. I
mind
think it's
games
so
for
fun.
sure.
The mind games
Yeah,
will be out of this world. I think it's gonna be fun. I think it's also it's a good item, a good ability for non-communication. So like, let's say solo queue and ranked or casual games or whatever. If I'm the Cocolan, I understand when I get the heart bomb on me that what this Cupid
oh, he
want
wants me to
is for
go.
me
Yeah,
to go in.
yeah,
It's not something like a buff you get that you don't really understand what you do with. It's more
yes,
of
yeah, yeah, yeah.
this
It's
guy wants
very
me to
very
go in.
obvious.
Yeah,
Yeah, and like honestly, is this better than non-aspect Cupid?
it might be now.
Probably.
It might be. I don't know.
Yeah.
If it's gonna be better as an ADC.
No, no,
I
but
doubt that, but he might now be played more as an aspect support or solo laner. I don't know if it's applicable in solo. I assume not, but more as a
he's okay.
support Cupid than an ADC Cupid
Yeah.
with this aspect.
Yeah, you could stick Echo on this. Like
True,
and then
true,
just gain a big speed boost or whatever when the hop on pops on 5 people and boom, all of a sudden you got 15% move speed.
true,
Uh
true.
yeah. But yeah, no, I like this. I think it could be played in solo as well. I could definitely see a world where like the Cupid, I believe the aspect reduces a lot of the scaling he
Yeah,
gets from Heart Bomb, but presumably you can do enough to like just clear waves, right?
yeah,
You could pretty reasonably play this in solo, I think.
yeah. All right. Enough about Cupid because we do have the other the other four to talk about. I don't have much to say of Apollo. I think this will make him a little more viable, but it's not big enough of a change to make this a staple.
If
Uh,
you liked it, you'll play it still because
yeah,
it's now just a bit better. If you didn't like it, don't bother.
yeah. And
It's
it
not make or
doesn't.
break.
If you play them solo, you're now more incentivized to play with your team. I guess it's more
Yeah,
fun because it. The thing with this change is that it helps you as the Apollo player in no way whatsoever.
yeah,
so,
yeah,
so yeah. Athena thing, I think this is interesting. It will definitely make you more of a damage threat and a dive threat.
it potentially is nuts, right?
Yeah,
I actually hope it's not. But like if that like the whole problem was that the damage debuff didn't affect Athena on landing.
right.
So you didn't get that boost and it kind of made the aspect pretty bad because giving a telegraph jump onto one person like very
Yeah,
often you would just get counted out, right? But now again, I hesitate to say it, but it could be outrageous to the point where they have to like revert this
Right.
because I think I quite like the shield wall giving reach, but this is one of those gods. The way you play Athena, right, is you double stack, you Book of Thoth and you Transcendence, and then you Polynomigon and Hydras,
Yeah,
and
because
just
you
try to
want.
kill someone in one hit.
Yeah.
Like this benefits this so much, right? Like you can just ult onto someone, reach three, reach, taunt, reach. You don't
Yeah.
have to actually hit them with a single ability. Like this is like
Yeah.
playing an ADC. Like you
I
can just jump down and
I,
just reach the hell out of someone.
I read it out wrong last time. I think it's land with your ult, reach, 3,
Yep.
reach, taunt, reach, pop, reach.
3 pop. Yep.
Yeah. So
Yep.
that's probably what you're going to look for. Cause
And then you have a dash.
And then you have a dash. So what you want is them to obviously take the pop damage. So you want to taunt them in. But yeah, I think what Athena to me was a fun jungler when this aspect was added, but I quickly realized that the telegraphness and the gains for the aspect wasn't good enough for me. If I was gonna play Athena jungle, I might as well just use the normal Athena because it's much easier as well to play jungle if all you're looking to do is counter ganking, because that's always helpful versus actually ganking someone can be somewhat not helpful, sometimes bad for your teammates, but versus counter ganking, like saving your teammate, is always appreciated. So it just felt more nice to be normal Athena most of the time. With this aspect though, I think the debuff, big change. I think the reach change might just be the icing on the cake to push this over the edge so that it's actually more viable in jungle than normal Athena.
Yeah, I do think this is good.
Oh yeah, sorry.
No, it's similar to that. I think this is. I'm really worried this Athena could be really strong. Again, junglers out there, try this. I think it could be nuts. Yeah,
I'll have to see. Hercules, I honestly don't know how much this will do.
You know what? So I actually did like to play Hercules support with the aspect.
Really?
Do you even know what the aspect does?
The only thing I remember was that his 3 heals the allies as well.
That might be all it does, but I think it also gives like the attack speed boost also to allies. It's sort of like an it's very similar to Ares 2 from Smite 1.
Gotcha.
It was that sort of thing. Now the Apotheosis mode giving the cleave autos and strength to nearby allies is really good because it was just useless on support.
How does
Hercules.
cleave autos work for ranged?
It might not.
Yeah.
It also might work similar to like Heimdall, where it is just kind of like a little AoE.
Right.
I'm thinking it won't.
Kurnonos, where it's only if you're
like the Kurnonos melee range, that type of thing. So I think it'll work like that. If it works, I think it probably just won't instead. But the big thing actually is mitigate wounds giving plating is really cool because it makes support aspect Hercules specifically a tank to counter
auto
attackers. And you could now play this in solo lane if you go, oh man, I'm up against a Apollo solo, an aspect Apollo solo. All right, I'm going to turn the aspect on because now it'll give me a sort of bigger benefit later on. Because I think Hercules definitely struggles into, let's say, you're into like a 3 ADC composition. They're all standing far away from you. You can't really get on top of people. Now, if you have the aspect, you can actually still do something, even in the situation where Hercules struggles, right? Where regular Hercules wouldn't be able to get close enough to like get a pull off or be able to provide any useful CC. Now, you can make the choice early. You have to make the choice early, but you can make the choice to be like, all right, I'm not going to be able to get in that much, so I'm just going to pop my 3, give a boost to everyone around me, and then just run at people. Because now you've got you still got the plating coming in. The heal will spread to your teammates. So there's a reason to dive with this character and a specific reason to pick it, like into this sort of comp. Again, you could play it non-aspect and then see the enemy team and go, oh, you know what? I'm going to turn the aspect on for this. I think that's actually really cool. So I think I like this change. I don't think it's as nuts as potentially the Athena one, or maybe as fun and good as the Cupid one, but I do think this is a good change. This is definitely improvement to an aspect which was already okay.
Yeah. Well, let's hope you're right, because to me this doesn't look like much. But I I never played the aspect much, so
Mhm.
I don't know how weak it was. Other than I knew not to ever pick it, because that's what people told me. Like, don't activate this. But yeah, I hope you're right that it might now be, that's also a thing I think we gotta have more of, is these like characters that counter specifically other like
Yes.
archetypes.
Yes. Yeah,
You have the
sure.
Bologna that clearly targets auto attackers. I want more of that. I want a
Yeah.
character that sucks against mages but is great against auto attacker, or great against ADCs, and I want the character that's great against mages and sucks against auto attackers. That's the kind of shit I want, and I want it to be super clear. It's got to be like,
Yes.
neon light sign in front of their forehead saying, "Hey, pick this against this. It's
Yep.
gonna be bad against everything else." All right, Sobek, you seem pretty excited about this. Tell me why.
This is nuts. This is Sobek jungle with aspect. Mark my words, will be oppressive as hell. I think this is going to get banned in ranked.
Really?
I think. I don't even know the numbers of this, right? But Blessing of the Nile giving attack damage, along with Charge Prey being the way it is, and having extra strength and int, this is going to be one of the stickiest gods imaginable. If he does any sort of reasonable damage, it's going to be horrible. The Tail Whip having the knockback removed. At first, I thought that I was like, oh, that's a bit of a a dampener on Sobek. I think this is necessary. I think
Okay.
this tail whip already does a ton of damage, right?
Mhm.
If you've got no idea, if this is hitting for like 300 damage with as base. If it now has strength and int scaling, this is going to blow people up. If you now have to just charge at someone and you're not going to push them too far away, you're going to charge into them, you have Fatalis, like Hasten Fatalis, and then you
Okay.
just swing it on someone, right? You're
Okay.
just chopping someone down, and then you have that last burst with Tail Whip.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be ridiculous.
Okay.
For an aspect that has been dead in the water for so
Oh,
long,
this has literally been
potentially,
the worst
yeah,
aspect, I think, in the
it,
game.
it absolutely
Or
has been the worst
ever
aspect
since it
ever.
was introduced.
The only thing that Sobek does really well in aspect form is that they're just hard to get rid of. Now,
Hmm.
like you can't get them off you. Tail Whip would help that, I think, too much because it would then be able to control your like navigation a bit more. But like you have things again. The way that the charge works, where you just charge into someone, sort of bump them to normally to the side, you could knock someone into like a wall, right? So they're now
Mhm.
next to you, and then you start swinging on them. When they start to get like a chance to leap away, you can then use your tail whip for that extra little burst of probably 400 to 500 damage
Right,
here.
right, right.
By this point, because you've probably hit them like 3 or 4 times because you're sticking to them with Haste and Fatalis, and you've probably got Bumba's Hammer, your charge prey is back up. If they haven't jumped over a wall, you're right back on them again. Swing, 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 just chopping someone down with this axe. If it's a tanky target, you then have an execute in the form of your ultimate source. You
Right,
don't even have to
right.
chop down their entire health bar. There is going to be no way to get Sobek off you on your own, right? I think this could be absolutely nuts. And I am happy to like hang my hat on this to say this is going to be a tier 1 pick in ranked soon.
Okay.
Because I think the itemization right now is about auto attacks and like multiple hits and proccing attacks. I think Sobek is going to do this really, really well, and I don't think there's anyone who's going to be able to stand up to him. I think he's got base inherent like quite tanky stats. You can't kill the guy, but he can kill you.
Right.
It also says Blessing of the Nile now gives attack damage. It doesn't say that it doesn't also still provide mitigations. I think they removed that. But
I don't think that is a part of the aspect
yeah,
already.
I think
Yeah.
it's a change. But even then, just giving attack damage, you don't need to build the damage yourself. It just will increase with extra hits. It does cap at 3 in the regular, so I imagine it's the same here. But yeah, I think you could very easily get 3, 4, 5 auto attacks off on someone. This could be the new Kali.
Okay.
This could be
I feel like
ridiculous.
you're going pretty hard
No,
on this.
I
How
I
about
am
how about we do a small little bet here? All right,
All
$5.
right, all right, all right.
I think this is gonna change almost nothing. I don't think he's ever gonna get banned in ranked.
Okay, all right. We'll see it. I'll be checking the Smite Brain stats. He does already get banned for support.
Yeah.
He's very strong support right
Of
now.
course, yeah. This is not normal Sobek. I'm
Yeah,
talking aspect, okay? Only
aspect.
aspect.
Yeah.
We'll have to get
Specifically
the
because
numbers
aspect
on
is out of
it.
control.
But yeah.
Yeah, like I said, normal support Sobek is really strong right now. I think this aspect change actually makes this nuts.
Yeah.
Again, happy to be proven wrong, but like I am frightened. If I queue to a game and I see the Sobek aspect in jungle, I'm gonna be like, oh no.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, I have nightmares about this already.
All right. It remains to be seen, but I hope you're not right, because that doesn't sound fun. All right. We are running pretty long, so we're gonna do one quick little announcement thingy-majig that most people probably already know about, and then we're gonna do our Q&A. If there's anyone in the Twitch chat that has any questions, please prime them now. So there is a tournament coming up. Signings or registration opens August 19th. This is SmiteSource Open Tournament. It's a tournament qualifiers leading into a league. So it's going to be a league, over several weeks. I think it lasts from like October to November, middle of November, start of October to middle of November. But before then, you have to qualify to it, and that's where this tournament comes in. This open tournament, SmiteSource Tournament, hosted by the SmiteSource website. For those who don't know, SmiteSource website is where you can find builds, find some of the bigger content creators in Smite. They all support it, and they make their builds there, as well as post some of their content there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how involved Weekend is into this, but he was definitely pushing SmiteSource from the beginning of its birth. So he might be an owner, he might be a partner, the partner with SmiteSource. So check out this tournament. If you want to participate, go to SmiteSource.com. This seems like the first actual big tournament or big circuit, because it's more of a circuit than I would say Smite Prime, because Smite Prime is every tournament is like their separate thing. This is more of a timeline that is gonna reach over multiple months, where the storylines is slowly gonna build up over those months. It's gonna be easier to follow for casual viewers. What do you think about all of this, Judas? This seems great for the scene, I think. It's like the first thing since Vegas that I've been excited about when it comes to competitive Smite.
So when I first saw this announcement, I obviously knew we were going to talk about it on the podcast, and I was looking for the negatives, man. I got to be honest. My first complaint was going to be, man, why does NA get this? When does EU get this stuff? Hey, guess what? They've thought of that. It actually has split priority on servers. So if you're EU based, totally fine. There will be some consideration for that. So I'm like, all right, well, surely the format sucks. Man, I couldn't break it. I was looking through this format. I was like, damn, the open qualifiers are Saturday and Sunday. So even if it is a rather long commitment, it's at least put on the weekend for anyone. Even then, it is an open qualifier on the Saturday, and then only the top teams actually progress to the Sunday.
Right.
So it's not like you have to give up your entire weekend to just lose like 4 games, right? Honestly, the format looks incredible. That's one of my biggest concerns when you see an amateur tournament. Is like, all right, what's the format like? Is it going to be abused? Is there going to be a problem with it? Because unfortunately, these amateur players, they love to find a way to break these systems. And honestly, it looks incredibly well thought out.
Yeah.
And that's the best praise I can give it. Is before this announcement's come out, it looks like they have gotten all of their ducks in a row. They'd already like gotten some input from Hi-Rez and stuff, so I'm sure there was some input there, particularly on things like formatting and how to like foolproof the situation. It looks good, man. Like everything about this looks really good. Great. I know they've already like planned out even things like the broadcast team. They've set it. They're like, before the announcement, we know who is doing what.
Yeah.
Obviously, things will change over time, inevitably. It's hard to keep people committed for like 10 weeks or how long they're doing it. But they have a plan in place already. And honestly, cannot find a negative to this. They've got a very big prize pool. I think, is it 21K? Is the total prize
$21,000,
pool?
yeah. $21,000
Yeah.
is spread out to the qualifiers. Because if you qualify or you win one of the qualifier weekends, you get like a small part of the prize pool. And
Yep.
then if you're a part of the league, depending on where you place, you also get part of the prize pool.
Now, I have seen criticism of it is like 21K is huge for a like source tournament that is like effectively amateur. Now
Yeah,
there is funding from hires. I don't know how much, and like obviously we don't know the actual breakdown of how much comes from who. But 21K is loads, and you consider this an amateur tournament. If you consider this a pro tournament, it's very low.
very low.
And one of the criticisms has been for a 7 week commitment, you could potentially get something like $3,000 in total, which is then split amongst your team.
Yeah,
That is not that much for, you know, like a big commitment, right? So there will not really be like there's not going to be like media appearances. The
right,
players
right.
aren't going to be doing interviews like throughout the week or in the build up to the games and everything. It's pretty much just going to be, at least my expectation from the obligations that they're setting out. It's just going to be, hey, the games this weekend, we're going to play them. Boom, 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 boom. Here they are. I wouldn't be surprised if some of the games get recorded as well, so we don't
I
have
would hope
players just
so.
sitting around. Again, because of the fact that they surely want to broadcast as many of these games as possible, but you can't then have players sitting around all weekend
Right,
waiting for their time slot.
right.
So again, not for this type of money. It's great. And it's totally great amount of money. I would love to participate and be receiving money for sitting around playing Smite. But then you have to unfortunately question things like, all right, if you are the clearly worst team that has managed to qualify,
Yeah,
what incentive is there for you to do anything more than just show up? If you lose every game, you're still guaranteed some money.
yeah.
So there is the concern again that just the lower games are kind of pointless to watch. So if you have seed 1 versus seed 8,
Right, right.
why should you tune into that, right? Actual
Even
SPL
seed
had
eight
this issue
versus
too.
seed 7 would be
Yeah,
like,
yeah, like
yeah,
seed 8 and seed 11, who cares, right? The players probably don't even care, having known some of the players who get to that level.
yeah,
Um, that is the big criticism, right? Is can they sustain this over this long period and keep it interesting? Not every game's going to be interesting, particularly the open qualifiers. There's going to be some absolute stomps. We might even be in some of them, Nickel. We are considering a team ourselves. We might be getting stomped on SmiteSource.
yeah, yeah.
Look, they don't need to have every game be a banger of once in a lifetime broadcast. It probably will only be okay, right, if for an entertainment value. But the fact
Right.
that it is happening is great, and the fact that it's all been put together is really, really good. This is maybe a little bit of a sign that there's not going to be a Worlds in January, which I don't think anyone was expecting anyway.
True.
If that type of announcement was to come, though, it probably would come around now.
Yeah.
This being pushed instead seems to be the alternative, and that is fine. Some people will be disappointed. There is no way we were going to have a Worlds tournament right now. There's just no kind
I
of
would
pro
hope
scene.
that if we ever get a Worlds, it would be a full year of leading up to it. Because
Yeah,
what you want from a big tournament like this, and what they have tried to do here in a smaller capacity, is you want it to be a circuit that leads into the big tournament. You don't want to just like
yeah,
smack bam, here's the big tournament, because then there's no storylines. You don't know anything about the teams. You don't know who you're rooting for. You don't know who the teams are afraid of, or who they have played before, or what the teams even are. We might not even know the rosters. So you want to have that build up. It's like
yeah.
you want the first act, you want the second act, and then you want the bang third act. Any storytelling in the world would tell you this. But I think it's very admirable what SmiteSource is doing here. I think
For
there's
sure.
nothing but positives to this. Even if there were negatives,
Yep,
I think the positives outweigh the negatives amazingly. Yes, the price pool a little small. They might not have enough money to put up anything else. The fact that they're even putting up that much, I
yep,
think is by itself noble and great and
yep,
just
yep, yep.
positive for the scene. One of the things I want to touch on before we move on, um, fearless draft, something we haven't seen in Smite before, to my knowledge. Do you know what that is? It's a fearless draft. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, it's not been commonly used, but in Smite 2 seems to be the preference.
Okay.
Actually, like the
Is it
amateur
used in
leagues
the
have sort
Smite
of picked
Prime
this up.
and like the Nuki League and
Uh,
such?
Definitely in Tanuki, I believe in Smite Prime.
Okay.
But yeah, in general, we are seeing a lot more fearless draft than not fearless draft in Smite 2, actually.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, fearless draft was introduced for the wide majority of esports. Like it was pushed into esports in a big way by League of Legends last year. 2025 was the year of Fearless for League of Legends. It's kind of introduced this idea because League of Legends have way more characters than Smite, especially way more than Smite 2. And
Yep.
they got to the stagnation point where, the best characters are the best characters and they're always going to be the best characters. So we just see the same characters over and over. How do you fix this? Fearless Draft. Fearless Draft is if a character has been picked, no matter which team picks it, it can't be picked again in a best
Yep.
of. So if it's a best of three, first match is played 5 characters on each team. Those 10 characters can now no longer be picked in the rest of the set in game 2 or 3. I think this is insanely fun. It grows into like you're forced to be more creative with your team building,
Yep.
with your comp. Um, what's it called? Like design of your
Yeah.
composition. It truly shows which players has mastered multiple gods instead of just I'm a Athena one trick and I'm really good at that. I'm just gonna pick that no matter
Yeah.
what, and then I might just win because I'm the only one that can pilot Athena to this level. But what happens if you have to play another game and you can't pick Athena? Without the enemy team having to force or waste a ban on you. I mean, we saw this with in the first ever Smite Worlds, the final. Kanye Life was banned out. His Ares
Yeah.
was banned out. And yes, that's a fun moment when you're getting target banned. And you can still get target banned. That's the fun part of this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
the enemy team can target ban you by picking what you like to play. So for this one guy, I don't remember his name, but he was like a Rama skill shot montage player. He had Marvels or something was his name.
Yeah. It sounds like Marvels. Yeah.
Yeah. He had insane amounts of montages, really cool montages on YouTube where he was Rama sniping people like insanely well. He had one game, I think, in pro play. Guess what character they banned every game that he played? It was Rama, of course, because that's all you've
Yeah.
ever seen him played, and they didn't play well on any other character. So yes, those kind of guys really fun to have in the scene, but I want my pro players to show that they have a level of depth to them
Yep.
and they can play other gods. They can be forced into a corner in a best of 5. Imagine that 40 characters unable to be played in a game now that we have 80 characters in total.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
could
I mean,
there's so many strategies here. Go on.
I've lived it, Nickel. I have played a best of 5 in a fearless draft setup,
All right.
and
Did it
we
get to
actually
5
lost
games?
it in 4.
Ooh, okay.
But let me tell you, that game 4 draft was very difficult because, like you say, you might have picked a lot of your best gods. Like let's say you're good at 5. Like, again, I'm a support mate. Let's say I'm good at 5 supports,
Yeah.
and I pick one. And the other team picks another one of my good supports in game 1, right? Those two are gone. The next game, I pick one, the other team picks another one of my 5 supports. And then in game 4, the other guys have got my last support. Man, then you could potentially have 3 more support bans, more,
Yeah.
even if your team decided to ban support. You might be having to dig like 10 gods
You
deep
gotta
in
dig
your
deep.
pool. And I was quite happy to play in this format because I do like to mix up my picks and everything. I wouldn't say I have just one god I'm really good at. I have no gods I'm really good at, Diggle. But this is definitely something, and felt the opposite of this as well, Nico. You might remember back when we were playing in the Road to Vegas qualifiers and everything.
Yeah.
Our team, we really enjoyed having Jingwei. If we had
Right.
Jingwei, we won a lot of our games. If we were playing in Fearless and we got Jingwei, great.
I mean,
Now we
let's
got
be honest,
nothing.
there was like 14 gods in total. If we
Yeah,
had Fearless, we could only
exactly.
play a best of 2. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
now that we have more characters, I think this is just such
Yes.
a fun thing. I think one of the strategies, obviously, this is like one of the first things probably a lot of people think of. What happens if one team just picks every ADC First game everyone
Yep.
picks a hunter or an ADC. Second game everyone picks a hunter or ADC. Yes, they might lose those 2 games, but then if they
But
have
now they're still
practiced
hunters.
this, they now have
Yeah.
they now have to crawl back in 3 games where the enemy team literally has a player that has no characters he can play. So I think there's level to this. This just brings more strategy. It rewards creativity, it rewards depthness of play, depthness of knowledge. And yeah, I just think Fearless. I haven't seen it before in Smite. I haven't paid attention too much to Nuka League. So actually being able to see it, I'll definitely be watching this. I might be playing in this. So if you guys want to watch Judas and or myself get destroyed on stream
In Fearless.
in Fearless, after my Jingwei gets picked or banned the first game, make sure to check us out, or check this tournament out. Go to SmiteSource.com. All the information will be there. We have given you some of it. Like I said, August 19th is where registration starts. The actual play starts in September. But if there's any other questions you have, please go to that website. They deserve your attention. They deserve your click or whatever, the ad revenue they get from you going to that website. Anyway, unless you have anything else to add on this, I think we'll go to our Q&A section.
Yeah, no, just very excited for it. And click on it, sign up. You don't have to be that good. It's an open qualifiers, and the worse teams that are in it, the better chances we have, Nickel. Let's do it.
Yeah. Okay. If you suck at the game, please sign up. Please.
As many of you as you can.
Or if you're really good at the game, make sure that if you have the chance, get seeded so that we match up against each other and then forfeit. Because that's how we got the road to Vegas. And we're gonna do that again, please. All right, so if you have any questions, please post them in the Twitch chat now. If not, we are probably gonna sign off. Again, any questions, any feedback whatsoever, Reddit post and or YouTube comments, we read them all. I at least do. Judas hates you all, so he's not gonna read anything, especially if it's negative. So I have to spank him into shape afterwards. We actually did get a question from Cedric's in the chat. Thoughts on Eye of the Storm as an item on ability junglers, more control over when procs maybe? This is the same idea I had with the Damara drum. No, was it Damara? Yeah, it was Damara. With the movement speed. It's kind of similar to me. I feel like as a jungler, you will have an easier time of stacking up. The only issue I have with the Eye of the Storm is that it's 20 stacks. So as a jungler, you won't have, if you only have this item, only have Eye of the Storm, which again I said you kind of want to have more echo items probably before building Eye of the Storm. But you won't have that many chances, and especially most junglers are dot characters, so you won't have that many even chances to proc echo. So let's say for Susano, actually, let's say Thanatos, which is the worst one for this, I would say. Yeah. Your 1 or your 3 is all you have on jungle camps to proc echo. And you probably do it once per camp. And if you do it once per camp, you're gonna get 6 stacks, 7, 8 stacks if you clear all your camps. It's horrible, but maybe you don't want to build it for someone like Thanatos. Let's say you build it for a Pele who can maybe proc it even more. I still think the amount of access you have to actually procking Echo makes the item such a disadvantage, because instead of something like the Damaru drum, where you can have this little minigame that is like it's more of an extra bonus.
Of a balancing act,
yeah, and a balance, but it's more. It's not that much of a balancing act because it just happens, and it's it's always positive. Versus Eye of the Storm, you're very reliant on the storm actually procking when you need it to. Like the movement speed you get from the Damara drum, if you proc that while just clearing camps, it's not that bad. It's 5 stacks. You can build that up pretty quickly. Eye of the Storm, if I don't have the actual storm during a team fight, this item is just useless. Like, it's just such a, why would I ever have this over just strength?
That's the big thing for me is, why wouldn't you build Hydras? Why wouldn't you build Tekokage, something like that, or just more damage. The effect would have to be really good, right? Let's say you are playing it on someone like probably Loki or Thor is who I'm thinking would maybe play this in
Oh
jungle.
yeah, right. Loki. Loki is a good
Like
one.
no. Big thing is that it's not 20 ability hits on like minions or whatever. It is a chance
Yeah, it's
of
Echo.
proccing it, and then it has to hit 20 times. Now, someone like Loki, again, like if you're like swiping down a camp of 3 minions in it, that's pretty decent, right? Like it's pretty
Yeah, it might
decent
Echo
chance you'll
a
get
few
it.
times. Yeah.
But then the problem is that like it'll proc off of the first time you echo. So if you don't echo with like your let's say you stealth in as Loki and you're hitting with the breakout from invisibility right away, you can't lead with your poison because it will proc your storm. So then
Yeah, when
like
you're not
you're
in
thinking you
position. Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
when you're not quite ready for it. So then you'd have to maybe like try to get your in position, or like again lead with the breakout from invisibility or the flurry strikes.
Yeah.
Uh, but now it's like sort of limiting you to a specific play style, which
Mm.
okay, it might be worth it, but only if that storm effect is really good.
Right.
And I don't know if it will be, particularly when it scales off of your strength. We don't know how often it ticks just yet. It might be that in certain situations, I think if it's going to work, it probably is on these ability junglers. Like we were talking about more solo lane, it probably is ability junglers instead.
Right.
I just don't know why you wouldn't want just higher strength
Yeah.
and a bit more damage. Again, if it's going to be useful, it'll be on that, right? Like I can imagine you ult onto someone as Thor, boom, Storm comes up as well. They can't run away, but realistically, if someone is playing against Thor, they have beads and a way to escape the Thor. You're not just gonna take an ult and stand next to it anyway, right? It's like, or if you were, you're probably dead without Eye of the Storm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I,
I just don't see Eye of the Storm being the thing that makes the difference, and that
yeah,
is
that's the thing.
kind of where you invest into these items, you know.
I also think like one of the worst feelings you could probably have is like if you are Loki, you use your 2 or your 1. You know, let's say for the 2, you can just you press your 2 when you have 19 stacks. The first tick of your 2 before you're even, you're currently closing the gap. Before you even get there, the storm starts. You know, what a wasted opportunity. Now you have to restack it all up. Let's say you go in with your 1 with Loki, you want a 1 and then 3 or whatever. But if they get away, you want to ult after them. What if the storm procs on the first tick of the 1? Then you don't again. Then you're out of position. This is such a clunky item because it's so conditional to what's
Yeah,
happening
yeah,
around you, what you're doing, which character you are. Like it just seems such a convoluted item for not a lot of gain.
yeah.
And
Again,
yeah,
you can see this on a few different gods where sometimes it's good for them and sometimes not. I said Thor is a good example because you might dunk down on someone and boom, the storm comes up as well. What if you want to do classic Thor combo? You hit them with the wall and then you throw the hammer out. If it procs on your hit of the wall, which you don't want to not do, right? Oh, I've
yeah,
got 19 stacks. I don't want to do my regular combo. Or but like if then okay, it's procced, I'm gonna now go in to follow up. Well, now you're not getting the double tap effect, or maybe you're having to position somewhere you don't exactly want to be. It's like the item is now playing you. You're not
yeah,
playing with the item. Only again, our only real criticism of this is the fact that it's based on Echo. It could have been an active item. It was an active item.
yeah.
You know, it had a bit of a different effect there. It actually hurt your health, and at one point it was just ridiculously OP. They took it out of the game because they couldn't balance it. Why is it now balanced? Because it's more random. Is what I'm not really seeing. If you're going to use it, it will be on ability junglers, I think, or you're playing a solo lane who doesn't really care about exactly what items they have, and you're still
Yeah.
effective in your matchup without it. But
And it's
I'm not
not
even
as
saying it's
important when it procs, just that it
yeah,
does.
yeah. I'm not even saying it's going to be like a completely terrible item. It's just more, I hate it. I
Yeah.
don't like the concept of it. I don't like the way that it procs. If it's very good, then it'll feel random. If it's not very good, then it'll feel pointless. And yeah, that's how I feel about it.
Yeah. So there's no positives no matter what you do. All right, that is going to be it for us today. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for listening. If you're catching this on YouTube, please leave a comment below if you have any feedback or questions for us next time. If you're watching this on Twitch, thank you very much for catching us live. And you can catch us on twitch.tv/InstantQast for the next time. Always on Thursdays, always around, what's your time?
6 p.m. my time.
6 p.m. UK, 7 p.m. CEST. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.